We're going to go ahead and get started, so if everybody can come take their seats. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Board of Supervisors meeting for October 3rd. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Mario Torres to come up and help us. He's the battalion chief from Tuolumne County. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. All right. He's ready. All right. Thank you very much. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all for being here. We've got a great lineup today. First of all, before we go into oral communications, I just wanted to let you know that our board appreciates communication with all of you. Oral communications is a time for the public to discuss matters that are not on the agenda. If you want to know what is on the agenda, there are agendas on the back table there. So the Brown Act prohibits us on the board from having dialogue with the public when they're making their public comment. Okay, it's time for us to just sit back and listen to what you have to say. And I want to tell you that the First Amendment allows members of the public to say what's on their minds. It also allows people to say things that are not true. My expectation as your board chair this year is that the public conduct themselves with respect and very respectfully and also truthfully. As most of you know, I also add a touch of kindness before we begin. And to that end, I'd like to recite a quote from someone in history or current day who speaks about kindness. And today, let's see where I have it, I have chosen Paramahansa Yogananda. I don't know if many of you know of this man, but he came to the United States to spread yoga and meditation to the West. And here's what he had to say. Kindness is the light that dissolves all walls between souls, families, and nations. And with that, I'll open up public communications or oral communications. Come on up.
Morning. Is it on? Oh, there we go. Good morning, everybody. I'm Catherine Sari, and I have 3 minutes to make this brief. I recently learned that there is a local company called Kodama Systems, Inc., and Kodama received $6.6 million in seed funding from Breakthrough Energy, which is a Bill Gates climate tech venture capital firm. And the purpose of funding them is what they're planning to do is cut down trees and bury them to store the carbon. But then what they'll do is they'll sell the carbon credits back to corporations like Alphabet, which is Google, Meta, which is Facebook, so on and so forth, but large corporations so that they can then claim to be net zero. My concern is that if they're out here in Sonora cutting down our trees to bury the carbon to sell back to corporations so that they can achieve net zero, status, how does that affect all of us in terms of, when they start to measure our small businesses for our emissions, so on and so forth. So I've reached out to multiple lumber mills and even CAL FIRE because apparently Kodama received a $300,000 grant from CAL FIRE also to thin the forests for this purpose. So I'd like to ask all of you to keep your eyes open and let me know more about Kodama, who they're working with and where they're clearing the trees. And then what else? Oh, sorry, I'm losing. I'm concerned about that nobody knows where that is and that they're using these forest resiliency, forest health terms to make us all feel warm and fuzzy about clearing our forests. So I think it's good to look into that. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought today. Okay. So as we're getting money for biomass facilities, I know they're focusing on renewable fuels, by 2050, they want all of the airlines on these renewable fuels. And what they're talking about too is using bio oil. So they say from stump to pump. So my concern is that there's a whole new market now for these large corporations to get involved in this carbon capture market, and that possibly they'll be stripping our resources for their own profits under the guise of doing this for the greater good. So I just wanted you all to think about that, and please let me know what you find on them. The co-founders of Kodama are not local. I found their address. They're out of a Staples on Sanguinetti Road. They have an iPostal address, so they don't even live here. And I've reached out to them multiple times. I've called, emailed, and I have no information. So if any of you have information on this company, I'd love to know where are they thinning trees, because the goal is to thin apparently 70 million acres, especially in California, and that's concerning to me. Now, I support forest health. I don't want fires as much as anybody else, but this almost feels like a Ponzi scheme. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Elena Linehan. I'm with the Aronis Research Club here in Sonora. We've been around since 1915, and in that 108 years, we've been serving the community in a variety of ways, where our emphasis is on education, and we do scholarships for Columbia College students. We've done last year we did fire science students. The year before that we did nursing students. We give supplies to teachers in the STEM programs, STEAM, I guess, programs. And we're going to be adding shortly we're going to be adding a little free library at our clubhouse pretty soon as well. The reason I'm here today is tomorrow we're having Coffee with a Cop. We're working in conjunction with the Sonora Police Department. And from 8 a.m. till noon at our clubhouse on 37 Elkin Street, we'll be having officers there. Anyone can come, drop in anytime. You don't stay for the full 4 hours. We'll have refreshments, we'll have door prizes, and it's an opportunity to just have a conversation with our police officers, to get to know each other, break down barriers, ask questions, get answers, have them get input from us. And everyone's invited. We'd love you to come to our clubhouse and see that. And again, it's that Wednesday, the 4th, from 8 a.m. till noon at our clubhouse. We hope you all come. We hope everyone puts it on their Facebook page and brings all their friends. Everyone's welcome. And who do I give the flyer to? You? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome.
Hello, Board. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Andy Merrill. I'm on Sonora City Council, also just a good, kind-hearted Sonora resident. Sorry I'm wearing my hat and I'm dirty. I've been taking time out of my busy day being a godless Marxist to come in and tell you, I've been putting up Christmas lights in Courthouse Park. So it's crazy, like someone that's not religious at all and, has been called every political name under the, God's green earth, is sitting here supporting Christmas. So I just want to get that out of the way. And Naya, I know you wanted to talk for a while. I'm still waiting to hear from you. I know you made one of those, you said yourself we should talk sometime, and that was like back in March or April. It's on the record. And also you made a video where you accused me of having a conflict of interest. You said that the only reason I support LGBTQ rights is because my current partner is the executive director of the Rural Resource Center. And I emailed Chairman Half, everyone that I have their email and you could share with them. I have a receipt here and I'd just like to show you. It's October 29th, 2018, of a pride flag that I purchased, that I put up in front of my house, and that would have been about 2 years before I ever met Morgan. The reason I just want to say this is because, I'm not doing this for political capital. I'm not doing this to grandstand. I'm doing it because I feel it's the right thing. This is a human rights issue. And, you've said multiple times, again, I'm not trying to come in here and attack you. It's just you got to understand that, you have said on the record, with Christ in my heart, and you use your religious ideas to stand in the way of true progress and having all of our citizens be recognized. And I say this as someone, again, I love Christmastown. That's a religious holiday. I love things like Juneteenth. I love Pride. I want to celebrate everyone. And you as a supervisor, you are obligated to recognize all members of our community. And I just don't think you've done that. Also, you called me a NIMBY, like you say that I don't support homeless measures in the city of Sonora when I absolutely do. Again, I don't have a choice. I shared some pictures with Supervisor Half at our Access to Tuolumne meeting last week of people camping like a quarter mile, half a mile from my house, and there's like 3 or 4 camps. So again, to call me a NIMBY when I don't have a choice. Like, I know these people. I just met Meg, who's camping out behind Sonora Elementary School. I hear all the time, let's keep our kids safe. Let's keep them out of Soulsbyville. Like, at least you have a choice. I don't. So please, just like, let's stop the name calling. If you want to talk with me and really understand why I say these things and where I'm coming from, dude, like, you open the door. I'm ready to talk. Like, you know where I am. You have my contact information. And I just want to set the record straight because I think you should be doing a better job than you have been of being a truly unbiased, you know, a representative for all and
Thank you.
not just your selected few.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kanan Whitman. I'm going to pivot, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the road crew. I've been seeing a lot of potholes fixed. Ponderosa Hills has had a tremendous amount of work. Tuolumne Road has had a tremendous amount of work, even via Este. And I've just been driving around over the last month or so and just have noticed quite a bit of road work getting done, and just wanted to give them a shout out and say thank you, keep it up. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. October is Respect for Life Month. I believe that life is the most precious gift we are given. I don't believe that a baby is a burden or an inconvenience. I don't believe that you shouldn't have a baby just because the world is crazy. The world has always been crazy. And I don't buy into the premise that somehow, just because I am pro-life and pro-baby, that it somehow makes me anti-woman and anti-woman's health. But those are just my opinions, and I'm not a lawmaker, and I'm certainly not God, so how much really do my opinions matter? It feels like not much. It also feels like this issue has become so politicized that we can't even have a civil conversation about it without getting yelled at or uninvited from family events. Shouldn't we be able to have civil conversations about what should be the most important thing we all possess? Life. For almost a year now, I've sat here as we have recognized a myriad of days, weeks, and months for everything from illness awareness, recognizing special groups of people, issues that need increased awareness, and a variety of human accomplishments. And I don't have a problem with any of that. And I'm not bringing this up to take away from any of those things that have been recognized or that will be recognized today. I am asking, however, that at some point in these chambers we recognize life. If not this month, then there are more events coming up in January or maybe next October. Can't we just do it in the hopes that maybe we can encourage some real conversation on the subject where all the available information can be shared? I hope that we are not just afraid of possible political ramifications. I would not want to stand before God and say, hey God, for week after week, month after month, year after year, I sat in these chambers and recognized every human conjuring that humans could conjure, but I never once recognized the most important gift that you ever gave me, the gift of life. The gift that if we didn't have it, none of those other things that I recognized would even exist. I just couldn't do it, God, because I was too afraid of what people would think and of the political ramifications. I wouldn't want to have to say that to God. But again, these are just my opinions, and they don't matter. To me, only God's opinion matters. Dear Lord, thank you so much for my life and the lives of everyone here. You've heard what I've said here, Lord, and I hope that as a county, we can find a way to celebrate and recognize the gift of life you have given us, and that we can do it in a way to bring real conversations involving all the information, and that it would result in all of us realizing how truly amazing your gift is. All glory goes to you, Lord, for everything we have. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, County of Tuolumne Corporation. I'm John Flynn, your political watchdog. I was going to go in one direction, with my wording, but the 4-H kids are here, so I'll go in a different direction, somewhat. And so what I want to say is, but I did want to say I was here last September 25th, special board meeting. I picked up this paper here, what was going to take place, and it said, I got all dressed up just the way I am now. And when I came into the building, somebody held the elevator open for me, and I got in and said, John Flynn, are you going to go to the board meeting, 4th floor board meeting? Yes. Are you going to go public comment? Yes. And anyway, so I came into the door, we went out, and then I went into the chamber here, and I asked, and I saw this, and it says, public participation. And I saw Heather, and I went over, hey, are they going to have public comment? She says, oh, no, we don't do that. We're having labor negotiation. And I said, I know that, but I'm here to talk about public comment about any subject. And she said, oh, no, we're not doing that today. So when I came out, I said, just folded it up like this and just put it away, didn't even read it. And she said, so I went outside, and then I spoke to Ryan Campbell about Jar Brannon being a flat-out liar on September 13th at the waste management meeting. He entered the building before I did at the meeting, and before it started, he was late, about 28 minutes late, but I entered the meeting before he did. And there are 6 witnesses, and Jar Brannon did and Ryan Campbell had every right to yell out, not scold, but he was really irritated with you. But that's another subject, and I'm down to 1 minute. Okay, now I went in, then you came out, Kathleen Haff, and you said, we're not having any public comment. That was just a flat out lie. You said, I said, no, don't want you not to, Heather's already told me. And it's very possible Heather was being manipulated, or she was under duress. She had to look that word up when she gets at home, not at work. Look up the word duress, what that means. It's a legal terminology. And then 30 seconds. And then the board meeting, the tape on September 17th was tampered with. It's cut and splice. And I do have some words missing, and it's not a glitch. It's none of that. And I also spoke to my personal attorney last Thursday. There are 3 elements of tampering on the public records, which I'm doing right now in civics speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. And he does have a point, because I've come in here and said that you need to have public comment every time you meet. Even though the Brown Act specifically states at a special meeting, you do not have to have public comment. Because special meetings were designed usually to bring up one particular issue that couldn't wait till your next regular meeting. But you conduct your special meetings on these extra Tuesdays, or I guess this week it's going to be on Thursday, kind of like a regular meeting. So it seems to me you ought to be open to having public comment every time you meet in this room. And I don't want to hear all this crap about the foundation of the Brown Act. I want to see you truly be interested in what we have to say. So I would like to give a shout out to behavioral health. They had a speaker on Friday at their Friday morning coffee clutch. It was Ken Baldwin from Bret Hart, who survived a Golden Gate Bridge jump. So they were respecting life. And I come in and chide a lot of people for doing all these resolutions and making this week or this month or whatever, and then they never do anything else. So I was really pleased to see that they had a speaker come and talk about suicide prevention and what it means to survive and live your life and watch your children grow up and have grandkids. And so anyway, that was just a really wonderful thing to see, and I hope we see that more often. I brought some Area 12 community needs surveys today. There's an envelope to put them in the back. This is for Area 12. They are interested in hearing from people who are 50 and older or caregivers over 18. So if you haven't filled one out, there are some in the back, and there's an envelope to put them in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I have a couple of public comments I'd like to make. The first one, anybody that's been following the board knows that we have taken up the issue with PG&E with their EPSS events. There have been multiple ones all across the Tuolumne County. And we've been in discussion with them since the board approved a letter to them asking for certain things to be changed. We're making some headway there, but in an effort, they are reaching out to the community, and there will be 2 public forums that PG&E is putting on. So I want you to know about them. The first, they're both going to be on October 9th, which is a Monday. Is that next Monday, right? The first one is going to be over in Groveland at the Community Resilience Center from 1 to 2:30. And then the second one will be in the evening over here at the Best Western Hotel. You know how they have a conference center behind? It'll be at that conference center from 6 to 7:30. So if you would like to bring up anything with PG&E, now is your time. Please be there. So that's my first announcement. The second one, you may have seen it. You may have seen this on mymotherlode.com yesterday. I'm going to raise up something here. It's often said that we don't advertise anything, any of our accomplishments, and this is the first step in a long road to getting some workforce housing in Tuolumne County. Our Senator, Marie Alvarado Gill, put in a request for us to have $155,000 to pay for some property that was offered to us by Caltrans. And yesterday she presented us with this check. So I just wanted everybody to know how happy we are, how excited we are, because this board is very pro-housing. We need every single type of housing on the ladder, you know, from homes for people who don't have them, to homes that are subsidized, to elegant homes on lots of property. We need every single type of homes in order for our own prosperity and for our economic viability. So this is the first step in one project, and I just wanted to tell you how happy I am about it. Okay, and with that, I'll close oral communications, and we will move on to staff reports. Are there any staff members here who would like to tell us what they've been doing that's really exciting?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Brian Bell, Community Development Department. I'm here today to announce to your board and the public that the permitting and licensing component of OpenGov is live and open to the public. This is a combination of over 2 years of very hard work by all of the staff in the Community Development Department as well as the Public Works Department. I would like to say that this is a very glaring example of a high-performance organization operation where every staff member touched these records, had input, and helped develop the records that we are now using. Members of the public can go online to the Tuolumne County website and apply for permits from the comfort of their home of all scopes and sizes, from large commercial developments to the single re-roof permits or what have you. So they're all available online. I really want to, CDD wants to really throw out a big thank you to IT and Jamie Gates specifically. I know it's been mentioned here before, but Jamie has been instrumental in this OpenGov going live, and his efforts are beyond compare. So we just really wanted to announce that to the public and let them know if they have any questions, they can call the Community Development Counter at 209-533-5637, and we are available to help in any way we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good
Hi.
morning.
My name is Sue Abernathy. I'm the public health nurse at Tuolumne County Public Health Department. And I'm here to talk about California's Lead Poisoning Prevention Week, which we will be observing statewide from October 22nd through October 28th. Our campaign message this year is protect your family from all sources of lead air pollution, including aircraft and shooting ranges. Aviation gas, also known as avgas, is a fuel commonly used by small piston engine, propeller, or rotary aircraft, and is the most common transportation fuel that still contains lead in the United States. Lead from aviation gas emissions pollutes the air. Lead dust from these emissions can be found in neighborhoods around airports, settling on soil and other objects that people may touch. Lead can damage the child's brain and nervous system. Lead exposure is especially dangerous for children under the age of 6 because of their rapidly growing and developing bodies absorb more lead. Protecting children from lead exposure is critical to lifelong health. Even small amounts of lead in the body can adversely impact their IQ, their ability to focus, and academic achievement. The damaging effect of lead exposure often go undetected. Although lead can be found in many products and locations, lead exposure is preventable. I encourage all Tuolumne counties to learn about lead and about the risk and the potential sources of lead exposure and the steps we can take to protect our children. A blood test is the best way to determine if a child has been exposed to lead. During Lead Prevention Week, look for our ads in local media on Tuolumne County Public Health social media and also our local theater. There will be webinar sessions during Lead Week about preventing lead exposure. All sessions are free and open to the public. Handouts on potential sources of lead are also available in the back of the room. And if you have any questions or would like to request any educational material, please call me at 209-533-7438, and that's 209-533-7438. Thank you. I'll see you guys next year.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Board, Chairman Heff. Mike Mazook, Tuolumne County Animal Control, and I'm just here to introduce the newest Supervising Animal Control Officer for Tuolumne County, Shawn Scheimer. Shawn has worked here for over 7 years. She started as a relief kennel attendant, then she left for a little while, and I went and found her again to bring her back to become an officer. So before this, she was an animal control officer too, so she's the senior most animal control officer in Tuolumne County besides myself. She's a great worker, and she's gonna be taking over the day-to-day operations of the shelter along with field duties as well. So I would like to introduce Shawn Scheimer, and she's have some updates for you guys. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Shawn, as he said. So I was just going to read a couple updates from our office. Saturday, September 30th, we had a team of 2 officers that attended the Groveland CERT and Safety Committee preparedness workshop. It was kind of like a little meeting / exercise where we gave some information to the community. So we had 2 officers that went to that. And we've also been working with multiple agencies doing warrants and such with illegal cannabis grows throughout the county. So we've been really involved in that task force. We took, I think, like between 4 or 6 dogs last week or the week before, I think, doing some warrants with that. So we've been able to help out with some of the animals in those situations. And then not this Sunday. Was it this Sunday? It's the 8th. Let's say that. It's October the 8th, 2023. We're going to do a event at Wilco with the Humane Society of Tuolumne County for adoption of animals. And we'll be there from 12 to 4 with some of our pets. And the Humane Society will be there as well. So that's all I have, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. I'm Drew Nearich, the county's airport manager, and I just wanted to give a quick update on some of the events that we've had and are having. In September, Columbia did Airport Day. Pretty successful in lieu of the Father's Day fly-in, which we are planning on bringing back. But we had about 850 people attend it. We had a good number of aircraft come in on a short notice, which was pretty neat to get that much attention. About 11 to 12 food vendors, all successful. I talked to every one of them. They made a pretty good amount of money for being out there and helped support it. About 50 classic cars, muscle cars out there. Pretty good show. Merced County had a showing with their helicopter and one of their fixed wing aircraft. The Tuolumne County Baggers, which is a cornhole tournament group, they put on a tournament, and raised almost $2,000 for a local family in medical support. So that was pretty neat for them to do, and just all in one day. And then coming up Saturday is Pine Mountain Lakes Airport Day. They've been doing it for years. They put a great show together. They've got their stuff well run. It's neat. Get the kids out there. Go check it out. So this Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Kim Freeman, your health officer. I'm just here with some updates for the season, our respiratory disease season. We have a flu vaccine clinic coming up next week from 12 to 6 on the 11th. It's for ages 2+, but does not include the high dose formulation recommended for 65+. Please wear loose clothing on your arms to get your vaccine. It's free for anyone and everyone. Also, everlasting is COVID. There is a recently updated formulation of that vaccine. It is available at pharmacies throughout the area. It is only available at Public Health now for the underinsured or the uninsured. And finally, RSV, which was a pretty hard season last year, comes every year, now has a vaccine available for 60+. It has been FDA approved for pregnant women, but has not been approved by the CDC yet, so that's coming soon. And then lastly, it is October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please get your breasts checked. It's very important. It is the biggest worldwide killer for cancer and in the top 3 for the United States with colon and lung cancer. Preventable if it's caught early, but preventable deaths. 1 in 6 women have it and 1 in 100 men. So check your breasts. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Board. Robbie Bergstrom, Economic Development for Tuolumne County, and I'm here to announce the next Discover Tuolumne Businesses event at Chicken Ranch Casino on Friday, October 27th at 5:30. Space is limited to 40 persons, so please RSVP to me at 209-533-5532 or R. Bergstrom, that's RBERGSTROM, at co.tuolumne.ca.us. And some questions have been asked, what is actually the purpose of this event? And I just wanted to take a moment and remind people that the goal of this series is stems from the idea that community is built on understanding. So before we can make effective change or progress in the business community, we need to have a good grasp of what challenges they face and what's it like doing business here. So the public is often asked to whether or not they support certain local efforts. And to do that, I feel that everybody needs a clear understanding of what is out there, and with that, they can make an educated choice. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Dory Beats, your Office of Emergency Services Assistant Director. As you know, Tuolumne County is the recipient of a 5-year grant program focused on building community resilience amongst vulnerable individuals living in the areas of the state most susceptible to natural disasters. The Prepare California initiative is aimed at reducing long-term risks from natural disasters such as flooding, earthquakes, wildfires, landslides, extreme heat, and drought by investing in local capacity building and mitigation projects designed to protect communities. This program is intended for communities that are the most socially vulnerable and at the highest risk for future natural hazard events. The state identified communities by prioritizing California census tracts according to their estimated hazard exposures and social vulnerability. Cal OES conducted a statewide analysis to guide Prepare California eligibility to ensure funding is directed to the highest risk, most socially vulnerable communities. In this analysis, Cal OES considered 5 hazard types facing California communities: wildfires, earthquakes, floods, drought, and extreme heat. To identify communities that might benefit most from support to implement hazard mitigation projects, they attempted to objectively estimate community exposures to each of those hazards and link those estimates to a commonly used measure of social vulnerability, or the Social Vulnerability Index, SVI, which is published by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and data on median income. This analysis was done at the census tract level. All census tracts with available data are ranked from lowest to highest in terms of their overall hazard exposure and social vulnerability, and then assigned a percentile rank relative to all other census tracts in the state. There are 5 of the 11 census tracts in Tuolumne County that met this established criterion. The grant and the intent of it is to fund one person OAS for 5 full years that will serve as a resilience analyst to develop local, she's so funny, she's cracking me up. This is what I love about this woman, but I'll tell you that story in a second. As a resilience analyst to develop local initiatives that directly and primarily benefit eligible, social, vulnerable, and high hazard risk communities. Resiliency staff will focus on mitigation planning and implementation, community education on mitigation, recovery planning, and or future mitigation project scoping. Your Office of Emergency Services is pleased to introduce Sarah Daniel. She is our new resilience analyst who will be working directly under this grant. Sarah has been with Tuolumne County almost 9 years, come February, and she comes from the Office of Revenue Recovery, so downstairs. She and her husband, Eric, live in Tuolumne, where they raised their 6-year-old son, Alex. Prior to Tuolumne County, she spent 20 years in the Sunshine State of Florida. Ask her how she adjusted to living in Longbourn that first winter. Sarah is new to OES, but she's already embarked on all that required training that many of you know, ICS 100, 200, 700, 800, Mo, your favorite, 300, and soon she'll be going to ICS 400. We couldn't be more excited to have her as a part of our team. She fits right in with our craziness, has a great sense of humor, which you're starting to see, which for those in emergency services know that that is a must. We have to have laughter occasionally. And it really helps us get through all of that craziness that we endure. She is already working to have community meetings and is getting to know our multi-hazard mitigation plan and all of the key stakeholders in the county. Please welcome Sarah Daniel.
Hi, I'm very excited to be here and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
I really like the spirit of who's got 2 thumbs and going to make our community safer, this gal, Sarah, so great energy.
Awesome. We love it, and we're very excited for the work that she'll be doing. She will get to spend a lot of time with your communities. Unfortunately, Supervisor, none of the tracks are in your district. Supervisor Kirk, the rest, all of those are in the other 4, but we will spend some time with you in your communities working on resiliency. So if anyone would like to speak to Sarah, please call our main number, 209-533-6395. Ask for Sarah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I'll close our staff report section and we'll move on to the consent calendar. And Heather, when you're ready, if you can read the consent calendar, please.
Sorry, just one moment.
When you're ready.
Thank you. Item number 1, approving the minutes of the September 19, 2023 and September 25, 2023 meetings. Item number 2, accepting grant funding in the amount of $150,000 and approving an agreement for the Kids Plates Childhood Unintentional Injury Prevention Program from the California Department of Public Health, CDPH, Injury and Violence Prevention Branch, IVPB, from September 1, 2023 through June 30, 2025, recognizing unanticipated revenue of $75,000 and increasing appropriations in the same amount in the fiscal year 2023-24 Public Health Department budget, and authorizing the county administrative officer to sign all related documents. 4/5 vote required. Item number 3, approving a subrecipient agreement between Amador Tuolumne Community Action Agency and the county regarding community development block grant for fiscal year 2022 related to food bank and mobile food distribution in the amount not to exceed $500,000. Item number 4, approving the plan specifications and bid book for contract number 1657, Mono Way Operational and Safety Project, and issuing a call for bids to be due on October 26, 2023 at 2 p.m. Item number 5, accepting the notice of completion for the Mono Way Crack Seal Project. contract number 1759, and authorizing the chair to sign the notice. Item number 6, approving the lease agreement between the County of Tuolumne and VB Banks Glass Co. for improvements to Airport's Campground Pavilion. Item number 7, adopting Resolution 91-23, authorizing application and signature delegation to the County Administrative Officer for California Office of Emergency Services Unserved/Underserved UV Program request for application for non-competitive funding from January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024. Item 8, approving a membership and name change to the Veterans Committee as found in the 2023 Tuolumne County Governing Bodies Handbook. Number 9, adopting Resolution 92-23, authorizing the submission of the Wildfire Recovery and Forest Resilience Grant to Sierra Nevada Conservancy, SNC, and the amount of $5 million, and the county, authorizing the county administrator to sign future grant-related agreements, all modifications, all related amendments, contracts, and documents. Approving the appointment of Elizabeth Betsy Hurst to the Fire Safety, Item 10, approving the appointment of Elizabeth Betsy Hurst to the Fire Safety Advisory Committee for the position of District 2 Representative with a term to expire on December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. All right, Board, does anyone wish to pull an item? Okay, seeing none, how about comment? Okay, Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to say a big thank you to Mr. Banks for the agreement on the airport campground and some much needed maintenance on that facility. I think that's a really great arrangement. And I also just wanted to do a comment to say thank you for, we have this on consent for the Veterans Committee. This is addressing some of the quorum issues it's had where it had 17 members and it was becoming very difficult. So I think that will be much more helpful in the future to make sure that we never have our staff show up and then we don't have the people there. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Campbell.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly say thank you to Betsy Hurst, who is a community member who has a great depth of experience with the real estate market, fire protection, and then also the very critical issue of fire insurance. So she's an extremely good addition to our Fire Safety Advisory Committee. And I also want to thank Dennis Randall, who is the outgoing District 2 representative on the council. He's served the community really well in a number of capacities, not the least of which he's a former fire chief for Station 58. So glad to have that position filled and looking forward to doing some good work.
Thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yeah, I just also wanted to welcome Betsy to the Fire Safety Advisory Committee and appreciate Supervisor Campbell filling that slot. Welcome addition indeed. And I'd also like to comment on consent item 3, just regarding the California Department of Housing and Community Development. We had, when we put forth the request for funding, it was initially denied. We appealed, and the state, very thankfully, under the strong guidance and work of Mo Frank, was able to grant us these funds so that the county can work together with ADCA in providing these funds to the food bank to, serve the people in the community of need. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have one comment besides yay, Betsy. I have one comment on item number 9. So in the memo itself, there are a couple of corrections that I need to state for the record. In the first paragraph, it talks about the grant including meadow restoration, and that unfortunately has to be stricken, so because it does not allow for meadow restoration. So that's the first correction. And the second one is in the last paragraph. There's just a typo there. It is April 2024 that the funding would come in as early as then, not 23. So those corrections made to the record. I will go to...
I have to say yay, Betsy, too, since you guys all said it. You're going to make me look like a jerk. So.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go to the public to see if there's any public comment on any of these consent calendar items.
I want to thank some of you for clarifying some of these issues, because I read some of these memos and I had no idea what they were talking about. So either I'm getting incredibly stupid in my old age or they were not clear. So thank you for clarifying that, some of you. And then we really need to talk about committee assignments in our committees, because there's a lot of them that aren't meeting because they can't make a quorum. And if I take the time out of my day to come and attend these committees, and I'm not a member of the committee, and we'll talk later, why can't the committee members? You have to sign an agreement when you apply saying you'll make the time. And you've got a committee handbook, and I want to know that people read these, because I don't think they do, because page 7 is very clear to me. So if you don't want to participate in helping the county to make decisions, and you should all be very mindful that these people are trying to advise you, then we need to do something about the process, and we need to find some better people. And that Fire Safety Advisory Committee needs more citizens and a lot less fire people. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to the board and I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I'll move to approve consent with the stated corrections on item number 9.
I'll second.
All right, it was moved by Supervisor Campbell and seconded by Supervisor Goldenberg. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that carries 5-0. Thank you. And now we're on to our favorite part of the day, proclamations and commendations. Heather, would you please read our first item there?
Item number 11, consideration of adopting Resolution 93-23 proclaiming October 1 through 7, 2023 as National 4-H Week in Tuolumne County.
All right. Who do we have that's going to make the presentation? Looks like quite a few people. Come on forward.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Sue Moore, and I'm a 4-H volunteer leader. This is my 39th year as a volunteer leader. With me is, she's right back there, is Dee Danicourt. She's a 12-year volunteer. And, Erica, here's Erica Armstrong. She's the 4-H staff at the UC Cooperative Extension Office. Dee and I are the advisors this year for the ambassadors, the county ambassadors, and the Tuolumne County Leadership Team. Leadership Team is a training program for the teenagers in 4-H to learn about planning events and public speaking. County Ambassador is the highest level in the County 4-H program. It's an individual working honor. They actually put on county events. They have an annual plan of action. They promote the 4-H program, and they do outreach in our community. These are all exceptional youth, and we're very proud to bring them to meet you here today in honor of National 4-H Week. They each have something to say.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ariella Soldati. I'm 16 years old, and this is my 8th year in 4-H, and I'm a Tuolumne County 4-H ambassador. I attended Somerville High School as a junior, and I'm in the Connections program. I take Human Body Systems, Advanced Dance, Pre-Calculus, U.S. History, English 3, Advanced Animal and Plant Science, Yearbook, and Art 2. This year I'm taking 6 projects. I've been in the Rabbit Project for 8 years and the public speaking for 7. This is my 4th year raising turkeys, my 3rd year training my dog, and my 2nd year learning about canning, and my 1st year in photography. Raising animals and being responsible for them every day is hard when you're already a busy teenager. 4-H has helped me learn time management as well as what you get out of a project and what you put into it. You also learn how to work efficiently and become more confident. Along with being an ambassador, I am the president of my 4-H club, the Tuolumne Pioneers. Outside of 4-H, I enjoy mainly art, mainly painting and crafts. I created the logo for our ambassadors and leadership team events. Our theme this year is May the 4-H's be with you. In the 4-H, my greatest achievement was getting the Sue Moore Young Leader Award twice. I have also earned my bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and emerald stars. In all, 4-H empowers young people with the skills for a lifetime. It has helped me learn about myself and become a better person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Hi, my name is Ashley Newman. Last year I told you about my Emerald Star project and how it helped kids at Columbia Elementary School by providing them back to school supplies for grades TK to 4th. I really enjoyed that project, and when back to school shopping came around this year, I found myself wishing I was doing that project again. I thought about how could I do that same thing and help another lost and forgotten group of people in our community. I started a community service project collecting art supplies, small games, and puzzles and socks and other fun items for senior citizens in our local care homes. Members of the community and members of 4-H helped with donations, supplies at our Fall for 4-H event that happened in September. I look forward to collecting more supplies and giving them to care homes in November. This year has been just as fun and enjoyable as my project last year. I'm a member of Tuolumne Pioneers 4-H Club. This is my 9th year in 4-H, and I've loved it all. I've raised market goats for 7 years as well as pigs for 6. I'm the team leader in goat projects. This will be my first year raising meat rabbits. I'm excited to learn something new this year. This is my 2nd year as part of the Tuolumne County 4-H leadership team. I'm also a senior at 4-H High School. When I plan to graduate in June, I plan to go and attend Columbia College for Business and Financing. Thank you for your continuous support in our 4-H program. I can honestly say that 4-H has helped me grow through the years, and I know it will continue to help others grow too.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jocelyn Lloyd. I am 13 years old, and I am in 8th grade at Motherlode Adventist Junior Academy. This is my 6th year in 4-H, and my first year on the leadership team. So far, I have been involved in sheep, goat, rabbit, swine, steer, public speaking, horse, and canning. I appreciate the opportunity 4-H has given me to learn about so many different things. 4-H has taught me various skills like public speaking, tenacity, teamwork, and so much more. One thing that has helped me the most is participating in the public speaking project. It has helped me with almost everything, including my spot on the leadership team. I really enjoy perfecting the skills I have learned in 4-H and like inspiring young people to do their best. I would like to thank you all for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Serenity Ducker. I am 14 years old and a freshman in high school at the Gold Rush Charter School. I am working on my 3rd year in 4-H with the Sonora Cloverleaves Club, and this is my first year with the leadership team. 4-H has taught me many different ways to take care of myself. I have learned many things in the canning, goat, chicken, and public speaking projects. The main project that has helped me is public speaking. I now speak much better in front of people. I was excited to be selected for the leadership team this year. We were in the flag ceremony to open and close the livestock show at the Motherlode Fair. We helped teach the Ozobot sessions at the Mad About Science camp, and we organized the kids' games at our fall recruitment event. And we now have the ambassadors and the leadership team planning workshops for the teen retreat in November. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you guys today.
Thank you.
Hello, greetings. My name is Kira Danicourt. I am 16 years old and a junior at Gold Rush Charter School Independent Study. I am also a dual enrollment student at Columbia College taking art classes. This is my 12th year as a 4-H member and 2nd year as a Tuolumne ambassador. When I first joined 4-H, I was 5 years old and a very shy kid. My mom had to kind of push me in with the other members. Now she has a hard time keeping up, and you can ask anyone, I'm no longer shy. In the last 12 years, I have participated in many projects. Cooking, baking and cake decorating, woodworking, cannon preserving, games, roller skating, backpacking, haunted house theater, public speaking, goats, rabbits, shooting sports, and poultry project, to name a few. I'm probably forgetting a couple. I have also been a junior camp counselor, member of the leadership team, and in 2022, I became a Tuolumne County ambassador. I have learned so much from 4-H. As a county ambassador, I help with installing officers and ambassadors into their new positions, plan and put on local events for members and their families, and be a mentor to my fellow members. This past 4-H year, my fellow ambassador and I worked really hard to share 4-H with the community by helping with local events at the Tuolumne County Superintendent of Schools. They hosted events such as the STEM Expo, Children's Friendship Conference, and the Mad About Science Camp. We have also participated in family fun nights and science nights at local schools. Helping at these events inspired us to bring back some ideas that we hope can better our 4-H program in Tuolumne County. I look forward to participating in those programs and events again this year. I love being able to set an example and encourage others in reaching their goals in 4-H. I have gained so many skills and try as hard as I can to help others learn and improve their skills too. I definitely would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for the help of my fellow 4-H members and our awesome volunteer leaders. We, as 4-H members, pledge to use our heads, hearts, hands, and our health to help our clubs, community, country, and our world. We would like to thank you for your continued support in helping us fulfill our pledge. We have prepared gifts for you to show our appreciation of your support. Our theme for this year is May the 4-H's be with you. These gifts include a vintage bear that was for the 100th anniversary of National 4-H. We have added a cute cloak to remind you of the theme for this year and also some yummy cookies to go with your Jedi bears. We hope you enjoy them. We also want to invite you to come see us either out in the community or at our events and learn more about how the 4-H's can be with you. From all of us, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask the board if they have any questions for you, and then I'm going to go to the public to see what kind of public comments we have, and then I'll bring it back to the board for final comments. So board, do you have any questions of these fine young women before you? No? Okay, so we'll go to the public and see if anybody from the public would like to get up and speak about the 4-H or the presentations that have been made today. All right, welcome.
Hi, I'm Kathy Peacock from the community. I've had the privilege over many years to judge the project binders that these 4-H folks do. And they have to explain what they've done through their process of selecting the item, how they weathered through all the bumps and the barriers, what they learned from all of this, and how this will help them in the future. And I can tell you that this last year was probably one of the best years I've seen in all their projects. Great thought put into a lot of things, great admiration for their volunteer advisors, the projects that they've done out in the community. And I'm so proud of them and so proud of just to be able to read those projects because it lifts you up. So thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Hello, public comment. My name is Dory Beets, and I'm a proud mom of several 4-H'ers, and Chate Murray and Sierra Prada back in the day, who took their first public speaking in 4-H and are now both very good at it. Of course, I helped them along the way just a little bit. And so Sue, we've known each other many years, and into some of the 4-H'ers in an incredible program. It is a must in our household that our kids are always involved in 4-H. They also became teen leaders, and then yes, an all-star. My oldest was an all-star who serves on council now for the tribe. But it is a great program, and keep up the hard work, ladies. You guys are awesome, and it's a great program, and it's just amazing. So I'm very thankful for the 4-H program.
Thank you. Not seeing any other public member wanting to come forth, so I'll bring it back to the board. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thanks to the volunteers who work with these kids to, manage this. That's so important. You guys put in a lot of time and effort, and, so thank you for doing so. 4-H is is just a really important, program, for the youth to learn a lot of realistic life skills, and that's very, it's just great. It's an excellent opportunity for them, and just really appreciate it. So thank you all.
Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming to present to the board. I've had the honor of being a speech presentation judge, so I've been able to watch a number of you progress through your career as a 4-H'er, and just to see the improvement year over year is just phenomenal. And also, did I hear something correctly? Is there a Sue Moore Young Leadership Award? Okay, that really says something if you have an award that's named after you.
I think it was about 10 years ago. Ron Hamilton was our council president, and he created this award and told me that they were going to make an award named after me.
Well, Sue, thank you, and thank you
and
for your 39
I'm
years.
still here.
I know. No, one more year to 40.
It's a record book award, and I get to read the record books and help choose who wins that award. It's for a young leader, not necessarily at this level of leadership yet, but it was very exciting.
Well, I think that really says something about the contributions you've made to our community and to 4-H, that you actually have an award that has your name on it. So
this program brings me great joy. It really is my life's work.
And thank you all. And just what's so phenomenal to me is that you are teaching, and these young ladies are learning life skills, about public speaking, which is incredibly important. Ask anybody here about the need for good public speaking skills. It's a lot harder than it looks sometimes. But you're also learning the importance and what you should get back from public service. And that's something that I learned at a young age, and that's kind of carried me through a lot of different places in my life. So I'm so fortunate that we're so fortunate in this community that we have a very active 4-H, and please keep doing what you're doing, because it leads to good things.
Also, their homework was to know what district they live in and who their board representative is. So yes, they're learning about county government at the same time.
That's
I kind of
great.
want to know now.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Okay, who's in District 4? Raise
Pop
your hand.
quiz.
How about District 5?
Yeah.
How about District 1? Oh.
Oh.
Nobody in District 1? Oh, we have one. All right. And District 2? And did I already say 3? Okay. Wonderful. 3. Okay. District 3. All right. Good. With that, we'll go to Supervisor Kirk.
I'm getting old because I see your faces, and it's almost like you guys are kids. You show up every few years, and I can't believe how fast it's already been a year since last time. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for waiting this morning. I do want to apologize for some of the stuff you had to hear earlier. In politics, sometimes that's how things go, and welcome to life. As you guys grow up, you're going to have conversations, and you have to figure out how to deal with them. You're already off to a good start, though, I will tell you that. I don't think I became really a public speaker until I got elected, or while I was running for office. I found myself like, oh crap, how do I say this? How do I articulate that? How do I convince somebody of this or that? And I feel like you guys just have a great start in life, because one of the biggest keys to success is communication across the board. So also, some of my other fellow board members, Sue, 39 years. So if you're here next year, 40, incredible. You have been volunteering as long as I've been alive. So that is amazing. My birthday is next week. And then I just wrote this down. I was just thinking about it. I think like if everybody was in 4-H, we would have a really great society. So basically you guys sum up what is good and what is right and what is admirable for people. So thank you guys. Go be leaders in this world. You're already off to a great start. And I'm excited for your future, because it's probably brighter than mine. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. And I want to echo the comments, Supervisor Kirk and Supervisor Campbell. Public speaking is really important. I was the kid that didn't have the problem with the public speaking. It was the shutting up most of the time. And I could tell
Sorry.
that we had, and that I might need to take some lessons from you with the cadence and the measured pauses, and it was extremely thoughtful, and everybody did a great job. I know that I recognize some of you from being able to judge your projects out in Amador County, which was fantastic. And I was so inspired to see just the breadth of stuff that you're working on. Not just working with, I think, as my interpretation was, it was ag and poultry and that, but it was extended to public speaking, leadership. I think there was 3D printing, which was a big surprise to me within that. I just want to say it's really cool, and I completely agree that I think if all young people in the county were able to get into a program like this, for me it was martial arts, which was this whole separate thing, but it was really important, and it taught me to care for other people and the power of service. I'd go sweep mats and do all of that, and that's really important. And to find something you love that helps other people and to master your craft, it's really special. I want to say that I think each of you has a responsibility to moving forward, some sooner and some later, that you're going to be the future leaders of this county and of the state in whatever you choose to do, whether it's business or whether it is in your school and education or whether it's up here one day. So think about that. You're probably some of the best that we have to offer in the county. And I hope that you take that as a responsibility to raise your hand, get involved. When you leave 4-H eventually, don't let that be where you stop serving. I started with Voter Reg, which is not particularly glamorous, and it ended up being an incredible journey of helping other people that's led me to here, and who knows, maybe we'll do other cool stuff too. So thanks for being here and for being super patient through all of that. And I want to also say thank you to the board, because it was during budget. It was not maybe as widely celebrated as it would be if it was a separate item. But we gave the first increase to help restore and support this program in, I think, almost a decade. It had been frozen. And so this is a product of decisions we made. And I wanted to say thank you. This is a program that's near and dear to my heart as well.
Thank you, Supervisor Brandon. And I hope you know I'm lovingly teasing you. My comments, I just love your theme this year. May the 4-H's be with you. That is so cool.
Did you look at your little bears?
No, we haven't looked at our little goodie bags yet.
Jedi Knight bears.
That is so cool.
And they have, what do you call them?
Lightsabers?
They have lightsabers made out of glow sticks.
Cool. Come on up.
And in addition to volunteering with our program, as she does, Seymour hand sewed all those cloaks. Or machine sewed.
Oh, and Ariella made the lightsabers.
So that's what they got.
Yeah.
I thought you'd enjoy the lightsabers.
Cool. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So I really enjoy you young women, but I do have a serious question for you. Where are the young men in 4-H? Why aren't they here?
Hey, you guys, my son is 11. He'll be available in about 15 years, okay?
I am currently trying to push my male friend into being on the leadership team and ambassador team. And I'm really trying to push the bringing in more men because this is a bit much.
I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it that you are young women and you're very strong and able in what you're doing right now. And I have something else I want to say to you. I want you to think about leadership because you're in that role right now, and you see what kind of leadership females have on the board. I want you to consider seriously in the years to come, possibly, volunteering your services, it's almost like volunteering, to become a board member wherever you live, in whatever county you live, if it's in California or in another state, to become a member of the Board of Supervisors. I would just like to encourage you to think about that, and when the time is right, go for it. All right. Thank you. Thank you all.
We still have to pass this, huh?
Yes, we do. We've got a resolution here, so I will entertain a motion.
Chair, I will make the motion to adopt Resolution 9323 proclaiming October 1st through 7th, 2023 as National 4-H Week in Tuolumne County.
And I'll second.
All right, so it's moved by Supervisor Brandon and seconded by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that carries 5-0. Thank you again.
Thank you. I noticed, there's 5 of us and there were 5 of them. I mean,
They could easily
another
take our
10
place.
years.
Yep.
I think they might be on the other side here.
All right, Heather, would you please read item number 12?
Item number 12, consideration of adopting Resolution 94-23 proclaiming October 8 through 14, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week in Tuolumne County.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hard to follow that act every year.
It really
but they
is.
do a great job, and we're certainly, I know as a community, all very proud of them. Today I'm here to talk about the upcoming Fire Prevention Week proclamation we're requesting the board to support. As many of you know, Fire Prevention Week was started to commemorate, I need that public speaking training as well, to commemorate the Great Chicago Fire of October 1871. Each year, fire departments across the country use the first full week of October to remind their communities specifically about fire prevention. As some of you may recall from previous presentations, the fire was reportedly started when Mrs. O'Leary's cow kicked over a lantern in the barn, although that's never been proven. The cow survived, the barn did not. But on a kind of a more serious note, the fire did lead to what was later commemorated as Fire Prevention Week. The Great Chicago Fire burned October 8th through 10th in 1871. In today's dollars, it caused $5.4 billion in damage, burned about a third of the city's worth. 2,100 acres, over 17,000 buildings, and estimated 300 deaths. So this year, the Tuolumne County Fire Department is once again teaming up with the National Fire Protection Association, the official sponsor of Fire Prevention Week, for more than 100 years to promote this year's campaign, Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. According to the NFPA, cooking is a leading cause of home fires and home fire injuries in the United States. Unattended cooking is a leading cause of cooking fires and home fire deaths. Year after year, cooking remains the leading cause of home by far, accounting for nearly half, or 49%, of all U.S. home fires. Obviously, we have a lot more work to do. The Tuolumne County Fire Department encourages all residents to embrace the 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme. Cooking safety starts with you, said Chief Cashy, the county fire chief. A cooking fire can go quickly. He states, I have seen many homes damaged and people injured by fires that could easily have been prevented. So with that, we offer some simple fire safety tips to help the risk of a cooking fire. First, watch what you heat. Always keep a close eye on what you are cooking. Set a timer to remind you that you are cooking. It's easy to get distracted in today's world more than ever, so pay attention to what you're cooking. Turn pot handles towards the back of the stove. Always keep a lid nearby when cooking. If a small grease fire starts, simply slide the lid over the pan and turn off the burner. And have a kid and pet-free zone at least 3 feet around the stove or grill and anywhere else hot food or drink is prepared or carried. Especially a good reminder and timely with the upcoming holiday seasons. The Tuolumne County Fire Department is hosting an open house in support of this year's Fire Prevention Week campaign at our County Fire Station 56 at Mona Vista on Saturday, October 14th, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The address is 16925 Mona Vista Road in Sonora. Well, more like Salisburyville. To find out more about Fire Prevention Week activities in Tuolumne County, please call us at 209-533-5118. And for more general information, you can visit our website or the Fire Prevention Week at fpw.org. And then for more fire safety fun for kids, visit sparky.org. So in the back, we don't have bags or lightsabers, but we do have some material in the back for the board and the public, just to emphasize the fire safety theme of this year and just general fire prevention and safety. So with that, we ask the board to support the resolution proclaiming October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week throughout Tuolumne County.
Thank you. Does anybody have questions for Chief Murphy? I have one. I noticed that cooking is a theme this year about being careful when you're cooking. And I didn't notice anything about having a fire extinguisher nearby or in the kitchen. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, certainly it should be, and it's on the webpage. There's more fire safety tips. Having a fire extinguisher in the kitchen close by is very important, in the garage, a few places on every level, but certainly.
Okay, thank you. So I'll take it to the public now, see if there's any public comment on this agenda item. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Yeah, go ahead, Supervisor Kirk.
I was just going to say, add to the list, don't let your 13-year-old daughter who's doing her hair and makeup cook at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah. No, but thanks. When I read the on the agenda, I thought it was going to have to do with forests and fuels and whatnot, but I think I can personally relate to twice this year where something caught on fire, especially my Traeger. If you don't vacuum your Traeger out every 3 or 4 times, it catches on fire.
Ooh.
I almost lost my patio to that. So it's a great reminder. So thank you guys for bringing it to the community's attention.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you very much, Andy. This is, and Supervisor Kirk kind of touched on it. If you look at what the origins of this day, it's because of the Great Chicago Fire, and how that history of where we started with this type of awareness and these efforts to make people aware of the dangers. It shows me that, when people have a clarity of purpose, they can achieve truly great things. Because if you think of the Great Chicago Fire, we don't really have those types of large urban fires where entire city blocks will burn. Where New York burned down, London burned down, Chicago burned down, where our largest cities just catch on fire. And it's because we have embraced new technologies, new ways of thinking about fire protection, new materials in construction. We've identified, people in our past have identified the types of things we can do to make these communities more safe. we're sort of in a similar analogous position right now with, I would say, rural communities, where we have had some truly devastating fires in terms of loss of life and loss of property. And so we're kind of in that stage now, trying to figure out, okay, how can we address this problem? So to me, looking at these large scale urban fires of the past and how we've really improved the situation as a country, how can we get to the same place now with the rural communities? So I think this is really valid and really important for today. And I also am really grateful that we are highlighting the importance of Station 56 on October 14th. And I hope everybody is able to come to that and really show their support for all the great work that our Tuolumne County fire agencies are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yeah, similar to my other supervisors, good topic, for this year. The cooking fires definitely are something that occur all too often. The tips on, having a cover for, pan, fire extinguisher, those are really good. And also, with or without fires, right? Just being careful and preventing injury on itself is really important. And same thing for the Station 56, Mona Vista. Really encourage people to get out and attend that, especially families with small children. Go up there and check it out and, help them to learn, just by seeing the things, on site there. Thank you.
And I agree with all the comments that have been made. I just really appreciate you, Chief Murphy, and the awareness that you bring to our community about such things as we have in this resolution. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I'd like to make that motion, please, of adopting Resolution 94-23, proclaiming October 8 through 14, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week in Tuolumne County.
And I'll second.
All right, so it was moved by Supervisor Goldenberg and seconded by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think we're going to go to the last presentation, and then we'll take a break. Okay, so Heather, if you'll read number 13.
Item number 13, consideration of adopting Resolution 95-23, declaring October 2023 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Tuolumne County.
Good morning, ladies. Welcome.
Good morning. First, I wanted to send regrets from DA Jenneke and ADA Hovater. They both had prior obligations. Eric's actually in the second day of a trial right now. And I actually had court today this morning too, but one of my colleagues was able to handle her matters and my matters because it's really important to talk about what we're going to talk about.
And you are?
Yes, that's my next line. My name is Stephanie Novelli. I'm a deputy district attorney here in Tuolumne County. I first joined TCDA in May or June of 2014. And during my time with the district attorney's office, I've spent a large portion of that as a vertical prosecutor for felony domestic violence. Recently, we've started sharing that caseload among about 3 of the deputies in my office, but I still file and prosecute far too many domestic violence cases. Often when I have a trial that involves domestic violence, I will ask potential jurors during jury selection, I'll say, by a show of hands, how many people here have either been a victim or who know someone who has been a victim of domestic violence? And with all the trials that I've done, it shouldn't shock me, but it still shocks me. Because if it's not all the hands, it's most of the hands. And it just comes down to the fact that everyone knows someone. Domestic violence is pervasive in our community, and last year when I came before you about this topic, we talked about how it happens too much in our small community. It includes not only physical violence that we get criminal charges for, but it also includes emotional and financial, economic violence and abuse. Victims of domestic violence often feel like they have no alternative and there's nowhere else to go. and they're trapped in this cycle. And the cycle is broken down into 4 stages. There's the first stage, which is the tension building stage, where a victim may feel like they have to walk around eggshells to their partner. Then there's a violent incident. That's where we often get calls to 911, where my office will get a report and we decide whether or not we're going to file charges. The third stage is the apology, and that entrance into the honeymoon stage. They love me. They said they're sorry. They said they're not going to do it again. And it's at this stage that a lot of times victims, either they'll call in, they'll try to take back their statement, I don't want prosecution, they'll try to minimize or downplay what happened to them because they're now in this it'll get better stage. And then after that get better, it's kind of calm. It's calm for a little bit. And then we're back in that cycle and the tension starts rising again. And the victims that I unfortunately come in contact with every day, they're trapped in this cycle. And I see a lot of the same victims again and again. There is a perceived stigma that prevents some from seeking out resources like the Center for Nonviolent Community. And unfortunately, domestic violence not only affects the victims, but it impacts the children who are in these homes and who witness this violence. Children who grow up in households of domestic violence are 74% more likely to commit violent crimes against someone else. And if there is domestic violence in your home as a child, you are 3 times more likely to repeat that cycle as an adult, whether you be the abuser or the victim. Breaking that cycle, it is difficult. It's not something that's easy. And there are people and there are services like the DA Victim Witness Advocates and the advocates from CNVC that are here to help victims. Since I came before you last time, the Tuolumne County District Attorney's Office has served 162 new female victims of domestic violence and 80 new male victims. We have provided 6,854 services to those new victims. We have filed 239 new cases of domestic violence. Everybody knows someone. So please, if you or someone you know is trapped in that cycle of violence, reach out a helping hand, connect them to services because we can all do something to help. Awareness and education are the first steps in breaking that cycle. So I am asking the board to adopt Resolution 95-23 to declare October 2023 Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Tuolumne County.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, District Attorney's Office, and the Board of Directors. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Peniel Wilk-Whitmer. I'm a co-director at the Center for Nonviolent Community, CNVC. CNVC is our local domestic violence, human trafficking, and sexual assault crisis agency. Our agency provides 24/7 support to men, women, and children in our county who have experienced interpersonal or family violence. I want to thank you for your consideration in declaring October Domestic Violence Awareness Month. There has long been the idea that family violence is something that should be dealt with privately and not discussed with others. Unfortunately, that is not a part of what keeps the cycle of violence in repetition and turns domestic violence into generational trauma that affects more people than can be counted. Now, some of you might know me as Coach Peniel, as I've coached club volleyball. I'm the JV volleyball coach at Sonora High. I've also worked with Tuolumne County Rec Department. I work as a referee. I've been a leadership mentor in the community. I've community volunteer in different programs that I ran. Also youth ministry leader. These are just some of the other roles that I volunteer and fulfill in our community for the last 20 years. And when I began this journey 5 or 6 years ago with CNVC, I thought that those were such different types of work and how unrealistic it was for me to think CNVC and that kind of work actually had anything in common. But through training and time, I have come to recognize how closely related to this work they are. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in circle time and asked a kid, how they were doing or how their night went. And boy, did I get an earful of what was going on in their little worlds. And I got, and sometimes more sadly, is when I just get the silence. It's that silence that I know that there's no words that that child can put out that explains what they are confronting in their homes and behind closed doors. You see, when there is violence in a home, the two people involved are not where the violence ends. Children will grow to model what they have learned love looks like based on what they have seen, heard, and felt. Parents of a child who is in an abusive situation are often alienated and can go on to view their own relationships differently. Friends of a person being harmed may feel frustrated in their friend, and just when they're needed the most, they might give up on that friend. Employers of a person who is being harmed can be affected in the loss of productivity and potentially lose great employee because the person who is causing the harm wants them to be without money or independence. Law enforcement officers who have families of their own put their lives at risk almost every single day to calls that involve domestic violence. This is how domestic violence transcends to becoming violence that affects families. All of these scenarios are very real and happen every single day, and not just somewhere else. They happen here in our community, in Tuolumne County, on a daily basis. I want to ask everyone in this room and everyone who is watching or listening to think about this question. And if you feel comfortable, please feel free to raise your hand. If you don't feel comfortable raising your hand, please just consider what your answer might be. But please raise your hand if you have ever known someone who has experienced or who is affected by domestic violence or family violence. Thank you. As you can see, this is an issue that most of our lives have been touched by in one way or another. This is why this year, CNVC and the District Attorney's Office are choosing to highlight the theme, Everyone Knows Someone, to create awareness that domestic violence is a very real thing in our community, and that through breaking the stigmas and stereotypes, we can all work together to prevent violence from happening and someday stop it from affecting generation after generation. By coming together and offering help to those that are in harmful situations, this is a dream that we can all help make a reality. One of the ways every single one of us can work towards the goal of ending domestic violence is by spreading awareness and education so that if a person is being hurt by someone they love, they are more likely to get help. Tomorrow, CNVC is hosting an event, Paint the Town Purple, where we're going to be gathering in the Washington Street Park, and we're going to walk up and down Washington Street and hang purple ribbons, and we're going to have different things that we're putting in all of the businesses in their windows. On each one of those ribbons, you're going to find a QR code. If you scan that code, you can go directly to our donation page. If you stay a while on our website, nonviolentcommunity.org, there you can also find resources that help you or a loved one experiencing domestic violence. These pages also offer resources to teens and youth in regards to healthy relationships. And our website translates into Spanish language in most of the material, which is a huge win for us as well. We want to invite all of you to join us tomorrow at noon in the Courthouse Square, where we'll be doing the Paint the Town Purple event. We want to thank the Board of Supervisors and all our community partners for your ongoing collaboration and working with us in our mission to support survivors of domestic violence. We also would like to offer a special thank you to our local businesses for displaying our ribbons, and especially for the Armory. They're creating and dedicating a special drink, purple drink, that will be available the entire month of October in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We could not do the work we do without all of your support. Thank you again for your time and your consideration.
Thank you for that great presentation. I'll go to the board first and ask if any member has a question for you. Go ahead, Supervisor Kirk.
If somebody's listening and they needed help, where would they call? Where would they go?
We have a 24/7 crisis line, but our main office number is 209-588 9305. And we always have a live person that's answering. So when it's not working hours, it goes to a call center, and we have advocates that have a pager. So we try and work closely with our district attorney's office as well as the police. The police and the sheriff's department also work hand in hand with our advocates, and will show up on the scene when it's safe and possible.
Great. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. Thank you for the work that you do, both of you, and District Attorney's Office. I know that CNVC has some housing options, and that's something that I'll expand on in a bit from experience. What I wanted to ask was, with the victims that are coming forward, and we know we have an abuse problem in our county, is there adequate housing facilities for those that do not have another option, specifically when it relates to relationship violence, domestic abuse?
Thank you for that question. That is a very complex question. I would like to say that we do, within all of our grants, try and support everyone in a moment to find safety. So we do have an emergency shelter at an undisclosed location here in our community that we can relocate people to immediately. In a situation where we're responding in the evening, or if it's a scenario where all of our rooms are full, we do have funding that is accessible for hotel stays. And then we also work with community partners if all of those resources are not available at the time. So we're constantly in those efforts to keep that work moving forward. Our shelter is, we call it our guardian house. It is a home environment and is a place where we can do emergency shelter up to 90 days is our minimum expectations of that. And then we do offer transitional housing for the appropriate candidates. So, but that is also a very complicated concept. And as I've been in the work and worked alongside of survivors, I've realized, you know, if you're sharing a bedroom with a total stranger after you've just gotten out of a very serious relationship, or, you know, any kind of violence that you've survived, having a group environment home is also not a safe environment for everybody, just because of each person's individual experience. So we try and keep that in mind and help each person with their needs and address that so that they're served to the best of our capacity.
Good question. Okay, I'll ask the people in the boardroom if they have any questions for you or comments.
Well, thank you for your presentation. And thank you for adding some local numbers, because I didn't see that in the resolution. I always think that's important. I'll be happy to come and paint the town purple. I will not be going to the armory and drinking a purple drink. I'm assuming it's an alcoholic beverage. And I have a little concern about that because many of these incidents may also involve the use of alcohol. So I hope some other business will do something not alcohol related. And alcohol is a pervasive problem in our community that at some point in the future, I think we need to take a really serious look at.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, I'll bring it back to the board for your comments. Supervisor Brandon.
All right, thank you. Just keeping it really brief, I raised my hand because when I was a kid, my parents divorced, and my mom had shortly after entered a relationship with somebody who created an abusive environment, and she was lucky enough to be able to escape that, but he was the one that paid most of the bills. And immediately after, that's why I lived in a one of a 28-foot long trailer outside Columbia with my mom with the kitchen table. We'd fold it down, and that was mom's nights. After that, she had to move to Vegas for years for work, and it put her into a spiral of really inadequate and difficult housing. The housing crisis back then was not nearly as bad as it is now. And I know that we do and have been very successful in identifying funding coming into the county, and wanted to say that I think what CNVC does is fantastic work. And I think we have to have the enforcement side to obviously address that. But when one of these survivors exits that situation, to make sure that we have a place for them is a really good conversation for us to have. Sometimes we get caught up in maybe the facility for everybody or some of the difficulties of, what does that property look like as a neighbor, and forget all of the people that are funneling into that, that need that type of help. We do have new funding, and maybe there's a conversation to be had there. I just want to say I appreciate the work that both of you do. It's not just domestic violence. We have an elder abuse and a child abuse issue. We have a lot of stressors in this community that create that, and we have a lack of resources sometimes into the things that prevent it. And to do so much with so little as a nonprofit, and I think with the district attorney's office too, which the caseload is incredible, and the amount of work and dedication you do, it does not go unnoticed. And I know that that is very difficult, but I just want to say I appreciate that, all the work that you do to try and make our community safer. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Kirk.
Yeah, it's I think for me, especially working in law enforcement, one of the biggest things that you guys touched on was obviously the circle. But how do I say this? We get up here and we do resolutions, and it's important to highlight it and bring to the community's attention. But what I think I take away from this, and what I have over the years, is if you know somebody and you're friends with them or their family, and you know they're stuck in that, it's up to you to try and intervene, because it's usually only going to come from somebody that they love and that they trust. Otherwise, the cycle will continue. And once you can break through, once you can get them help, that's where thank you guys for the work you do in prosecuting these folks and providing services to those who are hurt. And while you were talking, again, ACEs, even though you didn't say ACEs, I mean, that's ACEs all over the place. So like I said earlier, if we could get everybody to be in good families and going into 4-H, we would have a really great society. But unfortunately, that's not how it is. So thank you guys. And again, I think what I'm going to take away from this is just a reminder to, when you know family and friends, don't just look the other way and say, oh, they're going to have to figure it out and deal with it. It's almost kind of like suicide. You can see the indicators, but you got to intervene. You got to help where you can. So,
Thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Thank you for the presentation. Just the DA's office, victim witness, CNDC, working together, working with the sheriff, Sonora PD. It's a group effort, and each party brings something to the overall situation, and looking at trying to help people, looking for solutions whenever possible. The effects on children are tremendous, so very sad, but very real. I'm glad that you did call out in some of your stats the situation of that men are involved, right? The cliche that this is all women is not. I mean, the numbers you spoke to essentially said about a third were men. And so that's important to recognize. And there's a big obstacle, unfortunately, in our society of men acknowledging that they were, in that position. And just like you said, yes, we all know somebody, or almost all of us know somebody, that we've seen things, and we should all assist them and speak out if we see something. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. I think my colleagues, I agree with the statements that they said, and I share the deepest thanks for the work that you do in supporting people that are in one of the most difficult times that anybody can experience in their life. So, and keep up the good work.
All right, and my comments are, I think it's really important to realize that those that are involved in domestic violence are psychologically compromised individuals. Yes, there's a cycle, but they need a loving, stable friendship with somebody that can stand strong with them until they are able to pull themselves out of that psychological mess. And those people who are psychologically compromised, it's all of them. It is the perpetrator. It is those who are abused, including the children. I can't make that point well enough, because the children witness this activity, and so they're psychologically compromised too. So it stilts their ability, including whoever else is involved in this situation. It stilts their ability to be able to have healthy, intimate, and trusting relationships. So I just want the public to recognize it's not just as simple as just walk away. It isn't. I love your theme. Everyone knows somebody or someone. That's the awareness piece. But I also applaud you for the theme you have that you're going to do tomorrow, Paint the Town Purple. That is something for people to do. It brings awareness, but it's also something to do. I love it when presentations are made. It's not just about awareness, but here's something you can do. So I really applaud what you're doing this year. It's especially valuable. Not that it isn't every year. And with that, I would like to ask if there is someone willing to make a motion for this resolution.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'll make the motion to adopt Resolution 9523, declaring October 2023 to be Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Tuolumne County.
I'll second.
Okay, it was moved by Supervisor Brandon and seconded by Supervisor Goldenberg. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that carries 5-8. Welcome back, everyone. It's 10:56. We're going to continue with our board meeting. And Heather, if you will, please read item number 14.
Item number 14, consideration of approving a reduction in the number of seats on the Tuolumne County Committee on Aging and amending the 2023 Local Governing Bodies Handbook.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Board. Mark Fisher, County Administrator's Office. As your board is aware, the Committee on Aging acts as an advisory committee to the Board of Supervisors with a focus on matters as they relate to seniors in Tuolumne County. In February of this year, your board approved the 2023 Governing Bodies Handbook, and the rules that it brought superseded all existing committee bylaws, including those that defined a quorum for meetings. For the Committee on Aging, the old bylaws defined a quorum as a simple majority of the occupied committee seats, whereas the new rules define a quorum as the full number of seats, even if some of the seats are vacant, divided in half plus 1. The current seat count of the COA is 20, making the number of attendees required to make a quorum 11, and the current number of members on the committee is 12. When the rules changed, the membership count has roughly stayed the same. It's 12 now. In previous years, it was 13, 14. And so establishing a quorum according to the new rules with a similar count has been really difficult. And while I've done my best to try to ensure attendance by sending out reminder emails and making phone calls to committee members, sometimes the circumstances just prevent members from being able to be present, and meetings have needed to be canceled as a result. On September 11th of this year, at a regular Committee on Aging meeting, the committee voted unanimously to recommend that your board move to reduce the number of seats from 20 to 14, making the quorum requirement 8. And that is the recommendation that I bring to you today.
All right, questions from the board for Mark?
Yeah, I have just one. What is the current number of members on COA now?
12.
12. Okay, so we're still a couple of short. And I would encourage my fellow board members, I know the polling that I've done, because this is my committee, has shown that there's a pretty strong representative, from District 1, but not much from the other districts. So please, we've got a couple of seats to fill that if we approve this action today and you don't have anybody from your district on the committee, please work to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, I'll go to the public to see if there's public comment.
To attend these meetings, and I'm concerned now because they're only Zoom. So a lot of people wanted Zoom meetings so they could meet their quorum requirements, but a lot of people who don't Zoom cannot attend. So I don't really care how many seats there are. I care about whether or not you're able to interact with the public. And if you're doing a Zoom-only meeting, you're really not interacting with the public. And if you can't get a quorum just by doing Zoom only, then I think that means there's some difficulty there. So I think they ought to open up their meetings to the public, and maybe they could get some more membership. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Supervisor Brandon?
Great, thank you. I have no issue with this at all. This is just maybe to any Committee on Aging members. What I'd hope too is to see more feedback coming back from that group on a lot of the stuff that we're discussing here at the county. I know that it does some things throughout the year, but I think I view it as this is the representative body of seniors speaking to these issues. I'm not sure. I think there may be one District 5 rep. That's been something that I think has held up wanting to say, somebody asked me, well, why apply for that committee? I say, well, they talk about these issues and, what with seniors, but I can't say that they bring recommendations on all of the things that affect seniors that aren't just senior issues to the board. That's what I'd really love to get feedback on. Other than that, I have no issue with this item.
All right, any other comments?
Supervisor
Campbell?
Yeah, I have some comments. So I have no issue with reducing the number of seats. That's to me, that's not the problem, because having 20 members on any committee is kind of a lot. The larger issue, I think, is that we're having, and I'm not opposed to what the recommendation is. It's more, what frustrates me is the reason why we have to have this recommendation, which is that we've changed our system where we govern these committees to focus on, and it was highlighted by Mark, we're focusing on the total number of seats on this commission or committee, and that's how we define what a quorum is, and not the total number of people that are actually on that committee, which to me and everybody else that I talk to makes a lot more sense. So we've had discussions, I think, with council about that, and I guess that's something we can't do. But this committee, I think, was humming along fine and doing a lot of good things in the community for a lot of years. I mean, going back to when I was a staff member, I used to report to the commission, the then Commission on Aging, and they did a lot of good things in the community. They were very active. I've heard from various members of the committee that because we have kind of gone in there and monkeyed with the structure of this committee, that it's lost a bit of its purpose and its focus. So doing whatever we can, I hope this is an action that we can take to get some of that purpose back. But I also agree with the comment that we should start holding these meetings in person. I think that there's a lot to be gained from that. And again, not opposed to the recommendation, but I think this is indicative of some larger problems that we have with how we've chosen to structure the committee and commissions process.
Thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yes, I concur with Supervisor Campbell. I think it's I'd still like to see looked at by council further discussions on this. The other thing is that we are, as a county, and reference to public comment, we're working on a committee room that will allow us to have hybrid meetings. And they've been stalled off by availability of parts and pieces to make this system work, but I understand we're getting very close. And so we'll be able to have people participate by Zoom and in person. And I concur, in person is something that I personally like. And the COA does many, many good things. And one of them upcoming, Kathy Peacock's in our audience here and has recently sent correspondence. The Centenarium event is coming up pretty soon, end of October, the 26th, 11:30 to 1 at the Senior Center. And hopefully my fellow supervisors will join me in participating in that and escorting our seniors to a nice lunch and visiting with them over lunch. Thank you.
Thank you. And my comments are that I support the Commission on Aging, or now Committee on Aging. It's a hard title to rephrase. And whatever it will take for them to have a quorum and to do the work that they are so enthusiastic about doing. Now, did I go to public comment? I did, didn't I? Yes.
I only had one comment just to add to my colleagues too. I agree about the quorum issue, and it seems like that is something that other areas do, which is based out of seated membership. I know that's come up. There are points where we have vacancies, and it's not, especially if we're looking at, I think, more strictly enforcing the attendance policy, we don't suddenly want to get to a point where because we enforce that, we now cannot operate the business because 2 people left. So I just wanted to echo that that has my support. That should be a policy for all of our committees, if at all legally possible.
All right, so at this point, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make the motion of approving Resolution 95-23. No, I'm sorry.
There's no resolution.
No, I was.
Just approval.
Consideration of approving the reduction number of seats on the Tuolumne County Committee on Aging, amending the 2023 Local Government Bodies Handbook to reflect such.
All right, thank you. And do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it was moved by Supervisor Goldenberg and seconded by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries 5-0. Thank you. So we're at the point where we cannot do the 1:30 appointments, but we can do reports. So I will start with the clerk of the board. Heather, do you have any reports? How about Maureen Frank? And Christopher Schmidt? That was no? No? Okay, who wants to start on the board? Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. Number of meetings, we discussed about Yosemite Gateway Partners and some of their discussions about what does it mean to be a gateway group in the terms of regional advocacy. Also had a fine executive meeting with the Institute for Local Government. I serve on their board as one of 2 CSAC representatives. Another organization that is looking for where it might strategically position itself. And so for my colleagues that are on the various entities that represent us, and we have LAFCO and we have all these other groups, the management associations, also to the staff that may be part of these professional groups, I could see ILG serving a role where CSAC has a pretty sophisticated institute and it wants to do the smart stuff, if I want to say. There's a lot of things that are very traditional, how to run a meeting and public speaking and Brown Act trainings and ethics trainings, which I think the Institute for Local Government can fill, would provide financial stability, and it's kind of a critical intermediary between all of our organizations, cities, counties, and special districts. So that's one update there. I do want to appreciate the support for the no parking zone on Rawhide Bridge. That continues to be a major issue in my district, however. I know that legal counsel is working on an ordinance related to camping in very unsafe and difficult areas. I would encourage that would be looking at not just public infrastructure of roads, pedestrian risk, but also waterways, the parks. I have seen some areas that have pushed this issue, and I think it's important that we bring back as much as we think we can basically defend on that. We know that we cannot do a blanket ban, but we do have to, I think, take stronger action. I deal with this probably more than any issue across the board within my district. And it's a huge economic suck on the area. It causes a lot of crime, and I get a lot of people that are scared to use some of our public facilities and go to businesses. And that's a really sad thing. I wanted to put out one last thing. There's been one issue that's come up and I don't know if this has come up from other areas, but related to looking at some of the state laws and local policies on what we do permits for, specifically food and health permits. And we have local discretion somewhat for a reason. There is one that's come up in particular that's been about charcuterie boards. I consider that about as minimal as you could ever consider food prep. And to think that we need to have a permit for a business to be able to create a charcuterie board while they're doing, say, a tasting is, to me, really us not targeting the right issues with our limited resources. So if you're facing similar things with some of the businesses in your district where there are some of these small examples, I think it's an example where we should set some board direction on what our priorities are, because our staff are there to implement what their best view of the state and local direction is. I think there are things that they're just not a priority. And putting apricots and cheese on a board, I know it's a very specific issue, but for that business who's been doing it for years, it's a big deal and it's a huge pain. And I want us to not have that be our reputation.
Supervisor.
I can go.
Okay, Supervisor Campbell.
I've got two big things that I wanted to raise. So I guess I'll start with the fire insurance. So we had the Board of Supervisors Fire Safety Committee meeting last week, and we had a presentation by one of the insurance commissioner's deputies, Ricardo Laura's deputies, and I'm trying to find a nice way to say this. I was not impressed at all. It was a boilerplate PowerPoint presentation designed for someone with no familiarity whatsoever with the insurance crisis that we're facing in our state and specifically in rural counties. And it didn't go, again, trying to be polite, it did not go over well with this group, a group of people in our community, all of whom have a great deal of expertise in this area, being talked down to as though we don't understand how the insurance market works in rural communities. So there was that. And so in discussing what we can do about it, because we didn't get a lot from the deputy. That's sort of where we were going with inviting them to give a presentation and have a back and forth discussion about it, is how can we as a county support the insurance commissioner in advocating for our community. We honestly didn't get a whole lot of avenues there. So I don't know. I don't want to say who had the first idea, but somebody in the committee had the idea that what if we declare not a state of emergency exactly, but a county crisis related to the insurance rates in our county. I think this rises to a level where we need to discuss that. So that will be on the agenda for the next Fire Safety Committee meeting. We're going to discuss the different options and hopefully bring something to this board to vote on and then send to Sacramento and tell them this is a crisis. We are not, it's affecting almost every level of our housing market, what people are able to, where they're able to move, the homes they're able to buy and sell. It's having a huge impact on our community. And I know I don't have to tell all you that, you know that very well. But so there is some movement happening. We are trying to make some efforts, but it is very frustrating because we feel like we're just a dinghy floating in an ocean without a lot of chances to take control of the situation. So we're doing the best we can, and we're going to come back with our best ideas to this board, and then this board will have a chance to decide what we want to do. So that's something to expect that to come up very soon. The next thing I wanted to mention, I had brought this up at reports previously about a fire on the Mount Knight area. If you are familiar with Jupiter or sort of the very northeastern part of Tuolumne County off of Italian Bar Road, Mount Knight is kind of in that area, but it's a distinct community from Jupiter. There was a fire kind of at the Mount Knight is exactly what you'd think. It's a mountain. At the foot of that mountain, there was an illegal cannabis grow where there was a fire.
Can't talk about that.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to highlight and thank, I was talking about things that weren't related to the actual hearing, but I did want to thank the work that Quincy and the community development and Brian Bell did, because like I said, I was kind of cagey about what was going on because there were investigations going on related to something we're going to hear about later. So we'll talk more later, I guess. The last thing I just wanted to say, just personally, I lost my father over the weekend, and many of you have shared your condolences with me, and I really appreciate that. He was an amazing guy, one of the type of people that they just don't make people like that anymore. Absolutely lived life by his own terms, completely independent. He was a veteran in the United States Army, and he was a 45-year member of the Ironworkers Union. And he was a third generation, and I was fourth generation involved with the Ironworkers of America. So thank you all for your condolences and thinking about me and my family. And I just wanted to highlight that happened, and he was a great guy.
Thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yeah. Okay, this is my first meeting back after being gone for pretty good length of time on personal leave. I just want to thank my fellow board members for filling in committee assignments and other areas, and definitely for staff, all the staff that were involved, and the efforts that they put forth to assist was greatly appreciated. So being as I was gone for a while, I don't have a lot to report other than did attend the Sonora City Council meeting last night. I'm still very committed to working with the city. We don't always see eye to eye on everything, but the important thing is that we're talking and we're willing to get together to talk and work out when there are differences, and many times there's not. You know, we work fine together in many areas. So, and the last thing was just tagging on to Supervisor Campbell regarding the fire insurance. It'll be interesting to see what shakes out, you know, with the governor just signing an executive order in this area, working with the Commissioner Lara. I, too, have not been impressed nor trusting of what's come out of the insurance commissioner's office. I think it's been way too political rather than trying to actually accomplish something. But I'm waiting now to see what comes out of the governor's executive order and what spills out of that, and where we go as a board. I'm entirely supportive of any measures that we can take as a board to keep pushing that forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Kirk.
Yeah, I'll just touch on fire insurance real quick since you guys are talking about it. What Supervisor Goldenberg said, anything that you guys can bring forth, Supervisor Campbell, I will say, just since you guys were talking about crisis or whatever phrase you guys end up coming up with, I did look into that 2 or 3 years ago, specifically with OES, and I was told there were certain criteria, which I'm sure there's going to be certain criteria. What I would support is kind of ignoring whatever criteria. Like, we just need to make a declaration, or we need to make it very clear that we are in crisis. We've been in crisis. And so I just want to support you and your group, but hopefully we don't get too bogged down in the bureaucracy with, well, it's got to be this T and it's got to be this I. I think we just need to be loud about the issue. So whatever you can do, I'll support you there. I did have a Central Sierra Economic Development District meeting dealing with SEDS, and pretty soon we'll be voting on a SEDS report. It's been a long process trying to get information in there. It's finally starting to happen. Supervisor Brandon, who's the alternate, also reviewed the document, provided a lot of good feedback. So that document is being updated with his feedback. So hopefully when it comes time before the board, it'll be a document that we can all support. But it's been a long process, still working out those kinks. And thank you, Supervisor Brandon, for your review on that. Real quick, I did go check out, I was going to do it later in the week, but personal note, my fourth and my last child, if is not born today, will be born tomorrow. So because of that, I ran up to see the Quarry fire yesterday. I wanted to get my eyes on it before maybe it got too hot or more rain. This weather's been crazy, but The Corey fire as of yesterday, I think, was up to 5,500 acres. And I think I know how big 5,500 acres, but then when I went and got a tour, I realized how big 5,500 acres is. And when you look at Cerro 1.0 and where Cerro 2.0 is going to go, and now where the Corey fire is, I keep bringing up that idea of a horseshoe around Tuolumne County, and it's really cool to see. We all know that was a lightning strike fire, but they've really been managing it in a way that's going to do a lot of good. And the reason why I bring that up is because I've had people reach out and say, well, Kirk, I thought you were against fires burning in the summertime. That whole kind of McClintock's bill put the fire out immediately. I don't think I could be more misunderstood. My point, and I think we all agree, is we all want fire back in our forest. We want it when the time is right, maybe when it's mechanically thinned, been treated. We need fire back in our forest, and this is a perfect example of when the conditions are right, even if it's summertime, because it really happened in September when it's still summertime. It's a great example of how you can be level-headed. Yes, put fires out when the conditions aren't ready for fire, but when they are ready, let it go. So really thank Jason Kiken and his crew. They got really a lot of good things going on and more things coming. And then I do have one thing that I want to bring up, and I had to think about it for a week or two because I don't want to start any sort of drama. I want you guys to hear me on this and let me finish my sentence. Hopefully nobody will butt in. But with the LGBTQ drag show that happened a while ago, people have been looking at the county behavioral health, public health. They've been looking, monitoring more. And a few weeks ago, it was brought to my attention that behavioral health was putting on an event, or not an event, but they were. I'll just read it. It's trying to get young kids involved from the LGBTQ community between the ages of 16 to 26 years old, basically to get involved in some policy change and some change within Tuolumne County. No big deal. The problem, though, and the reason why I'm bringing it to the board is because I want county council to be aware of it. I want to make sure that we don't set ourselves up with any sort of liability, because on one of the pages it says that these 16-year-olds will be paired with a mentor who will help guide your change making. So when I look at this from a law enforcement lens, we have children, teenagers, young adults, 16 years old, being paired with adults. And the reason why I'm concerned is because this isn't a conversation about climate change. It's not a conversation about bike trails. It's a conversation specifically about people's sexuality. And I want to make sure that the county isn't creating an environment where we are pairing children underage with adults, be paired with a mentor who will help guide your change making. So I'm bringing this to our attention. I don't want to have what happened at Sonora High happen with us in the years ahead. I would just hope that we could look at it, maybe have council look through it, make sure that we're not creating an environment that would potentially get us in any sort of pickle into the future, and really protect those kids. I'm fine with people want to have policy conversations, but I think we've got to be really careful what we put out to the community when we're pairing children with adults, and the conversation is specifically around sexuality. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Okay, we had our last of the department heads and two Board of Supervisors, those meetings. I think we've gone as far as we can with improving relationships through that type of a meeting structure. And I look forward to our next step, which we'll be doing sometime soon. We have someone coming to us that will be working with each of the department heads and our board members one-on-one to learn from each of these people how to better our situation, hopefully leading into our next year's goal-setting session that we'll have in January. So there'll be a report that will be done from this sometime before Thanksgiving, and it'll be disseminated, I believe. And so I'm really looking forward to finishing out the year on an up note in that way. I had a meeting with social services and specifically ambulance last week to, remember when we had, I think it was last meeting, we learned about foreign visitors who didn't pay their ambulance bills. They paid the hospital bills, but they didn't pay the trip to the hospital. So I started working with the ambulance folks and Steve Boyack in looking for ways to turn that around. And that was just an initial meeting. I'm not going to be involved from here on out, but they're going to be looking into how to prevent this from happening in the future. I was really happy to attend the 11th annual employee appreciation dinner and picnic and fun stuff that happened at Standard Park last Friday. It was a pretty good turnout and looked like everybody had a great time. There were several of us that met with Senator Alvarado Gil, people from staff and Supervisor Brandon who attended for what I talked about earlier about receiving that funding to pay for the property that we hope to eventually do workforce housing on. And, you know, in order to make it an affordable project, the property really can't cost anything, and it was not in our, we didn't own it. So now we do, and it didn't cost us anything, and we can move ahead with the future hurdles that we have before us before we can actually start this project. Looking forward, I am happy to be attending the Friday session of the California Planning Commission Conference. That California Planning Commission Conference is coming here to Black Oak, and I will be helping to welcome them on Friday. And then also looking forward, we have the PML, Pine Mountain Lake Airport Appreciation Day, and I don't know how many members on the board have actually been to Pine Mountain Lake Airport, but you know, later on this year we are going to be receiving that study. At least that's the information I have. So it would really be helpful for all board members to show up and see the facility there, and I would be happy to show you around one-on-one when I can, because it's going to be a great day. I think the weather's going to be good. It won't be soupy like it will be probably when we get that study. So now's the time to go out and check out this facility if you haven't already. And then I previously mentioned an upcoming forum. There's going to be 2 of them from PG&E, so I'm not going to go into that. But the last thing I want to say is also forward thinking. I'm part of the ad hoc committee to look into the fire insurance thing with RCRC. And I am not able to go when they're going to meet with Commissioner Lara. That's going to be on the 16th, and Supervisor Brandon has accepted to go in my place, and that's been approved by the committee. So I look forward to hearing more about that when he comes back. And so if you have any particular information that you want to make sure that he takes with him to Sacramento, please talk to him. And I think that concludes my report. So we've got a long lunch break, right? All right, it's 1:30. We're getting ready to start. So if everybody will please take their seats. Hello, hello. Take your seats, please. Yes, yes. Thank you. All right, we're ready to begin our afternoon session. And we will start with the first 1:30 public hearing. And Heather, would you please read that agenda item?
1:30 p.m. Item 1, public hearing to consider Tuolumne Parks and Recreation ordinance for zone change RZ 23-003 to rezone 8 parcels to public Notice of extension pursuant to Section 15061B3 of the State CEQA Guidelines, and notice of determination pursuant to the State CEQA Guidelines.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good afternoon, Board and Chair Half. My name is Clark Sintek, Planner 1 at Tuolumne County Community Development Department. The project before your board today is Zone Change RZ 23-003 for the applicant Tuolumne Parks and Recreation District. The location of all the project sites are scattered around and located within the vicinity of downtown Tuolumne City. A brief description of this project there are 8 parcels that are all within the public general plan designation, changing to zoning public design review mobile home exclusion combining district. Here's kind of a map showing their dispersion throughout downtown Tuolumne City.
So do I need to open the public?
Yes, please.
Before he
Chair,
speaks?
please do
I'm
open the
sorry.
public hearing. Thank you.
I blew it. You don't have to start again, but I need to note that we are opening the public hearing for this matter. I should have done it after Heather announced the agenda item. So my mistake. Keep going. We heard you.
Okay. Okay, so this is just a vicinity map of all the proposed parcels to be rezoned. Here are the parcels to be rezoned on chart. Current zonings ranging from commercial recreational to medium density residential and general commercial. Design review, the D is for design review. We don't really do design reviews anymore, but we leave it on. And then also mobile home exclusionary zone combining district. Here's another map showing the different parcels dispersed throughout downtown Tuolumne City with a general plan overlay. As you can see, all of them are zoned public or general plan designation public. Joiner comments, 152 property owners were notified on June 7th, 2023. One response was received, basically just asking why they received a notification. There was no comment. Advisory agencies were also notified. The only comments received back were that they were notified once development starts on the proposed parcel to be rezoned. There was a planning commission meeting held on August 16th, 2023. Voting 4-0, recommending approval with 3 commissioners absent. These are the findings for the zone change application. You can see. And the Board of Supervisors may approve the project, deny the project, and send the project back to staff. Are there any questions?
Can you go back over the findings, the slide with the findings? Just refamiliarizing. Okay. Does the board have any questions? No? No? Okay, I'll go to public comment then, see if there are members of the public that would like to comment on this ordinance for a zone change. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for any comments, or I'll entertain a motion.
And if you could.
And then I need to close public hearing. Supervisor Brandon.
It's one. It is a little more of a question with it. Just related to, does this include the Memorial Hall property or no? So I got Google Maps pulled up to try and cross-reference some of the sites on here. Okay, so no.
I don't believe so.
Off to the left, this is the ball field, it looks like, and some of the little park spaces. Okay, so this wouldn't change anything from county-owned or contracted properties. That's the only question. Our TPRD contract.
Nope.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Any other board comments? I'm ready to entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion since it's in my district to approve staff recommendation approval for zone change of RZ 23 through 03 based upon findings A through D. Does that work?
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. All right, when you're ready, Heather, the second 1:30 appointment.
1:30 p.m. to public hearing to consider Irene G. Yi O Yang, consideration of an appeal of the notice and order that was issued on July 3, 2023 on assessor's parcel number 066-181-041-000, property address 19279 2nd Garrett Ridge, Groveland, regarding illegal cultivation of cannabis and other code violations.
I will now open the hearing. Code Compliance will present its case, and then the appellant will have an opportunity to respond. We will take public comment, and then we will deliberate and vote.
Christopher Schmidt, Deputy County Counsel. I just have a statement on procedure to start out with. You have two different types of code compliance hearings this afternoon, the second and third 1:30s. The next one, number 3, is a summary abatement hearing, which is a hearing that was not requested by that property owner, but is required whenever code compliance abates a property without prior notice or hearing for safety reasons. That requires special findings, which we'll address in number 3. As for number 2, this is a more typical code compliance hearing, an appeal hearing requested by the property owner appealing a July 3rd, 2023 notice and order. That concerned illegal cannabis cultivation and other code violations on a parcel of land located at 19270 2nd Garrett Ridge Road in Groveland. Under the county's code compliance ordinance, your board is the hearing body for appeals. In terms of process, first, Mr. Bell, as the code compliance officer, will provide your board with an overview of the investigation and case. The evidence presented by the county constitutes prima facie evidence, which means it is sufficient to establish a fact unless proven otherwise or rebutted. The burden of proof is preponderance of evidence. That means that more than 50% of the evidence points to the existence of the violation. After Mr. Bell's presentation, the appellant, if present, has an opportunity to present evidence in response. Your board can ask questions at any time. Although this is a hearing before your board, it is not a public hearing in the traditional sense. Public may comment after the parties present. However, the department and appellant should be given an opportunity to respond to public comment. After hearing the presentation, evidence, and public comment, your board will determine whether all the violations are true, just some of the violations are true, or if none of the violations are true. If your board finds that some or all the violations are true, staff will present your chair's signature a final abatement order, which includes the violations found to be true and corresponding penalties. If your board finds none of the violations are true, staff will withdraw the notice and order and refund the appeal fee to the appellant. If there are no questions by your board, I'll pass this off to Mr. Bell.
Any questions so far? Seeing none, go ahead and continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Madam Chair, members of the board, Brian Bell with Human Development Department, accompanied here with lead investigator for this case, Nancy Tucker. We would like to present some evidence for you to consider today. Today's requested action is consideration of an appeal that was filed by Irene O Yang regarding a notice and order that was issued on July 3rd, 2023. And these were done for code violations, including cannabis cultivation, work without permits, substandard living conditions, and solid waste on assessor's parcel number 066-181-041, located at 19270 Second Grody Ridge Road in Groveland, California. And we're asking, of course, that you make the determination that the violations do exist on this property, and you direct the code compliance officer to prepare a final abatement order for the chair's signature, ordering correction of all violations, and serving a demand on the property owner, Ms. Yang, for payments of all penalties. Our investigation included the cannabis cultivation, illegal and unauthorized dumping, substandard conditions, and as we mentioned before, work without permits. I'd like to direct you to the PowerPoint. You notice in this case, the hearing review itself, the questions are, did the violations in the notice and order exist, and who is responsible? As Mr. Schmidt identified, the standard is the preponderance of evidence. The burden is on the department, and our recommendations are that you find these violations existed, the owner is liable, and the penalties are automatic. Location information, as we've briefly explained. Numerous zoning, solid waste, and building violations, as we have previously identified as well. And primarily alleged violation is the outdoor and indoor cultivation of cannabis on the parcel without a permit. This case is limited to administrative enforcement of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code and its adopted regulations. Any and all state regulations regarding cannabis cooperatives do not apply. Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 17.67.050, subsection D3, prohibits outdoor cultivation of cannabis within 1,000 feet of a sensitive use. This property, which includes federal lands, of course, and this property is within proximity of 1,000 feet to two separate federal lands held by the National Forest and, of course, the Bureau of Land Management. The cultivation, again, of cannabis per the ordinance code for non-commercial use is limited to 6 indoor plants and 12 outdoor plants on this particular parcel with a zoning of AE 37. The total plant count found on this property was 1,167. Here is case evidence relative to the cannabis that was located indoors on the property. You can see the various plants in this photograph, along with the various infrastructure that they have done illegally to cultivate this cannabis indoors. As we flow through the various rooms on this site, you can see the various stages of growth and various infrastructure, if you will, developed to facilitate this growth. Here we show the outdoor plants that were just adjacent to the structure that was being utilized for the indoor grows. In these photographs, you will notice that the cannabis has been cut down and abated at that time. 17.67.050 subsection B6, all structures and equipment used for cultivation, processing, or storing of cannabis for personal use shall comply with all applicable building, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and fire code regulations as adopted by the county and or the state. To highlight the situation we have here, all of these hoop structures were built without permits. All modifications and additions made to the dwelling and the shop to sustain the cultivation of cannabis were conducted without permits. All plumbing and electrical modifications made to the structures on the parcel to sustain the cultivation of cannabis was conducted without permits. And installation and use of unpermitted generators and diesel holding tanks on the parcel to sustain the cultivation of cannabis were installed and conducted without permits. As we move forward here, we'll show you evidence justifying these claims. Again, the hoop structures. The inside of the shop, and in this photograph, you can see very clearly various rooms that were constructed inside of this building, all done without permits, including various amounts of ducting and electrical wiring. And as we scroll through these photographs, you'll see more evidence of this work that was done. You can see the grow beds and the various electrical components in these photographs. Additional examples of the electrical wiring extensively that was done without any oversight or permitting. Again, in these photographs, you can see the various lights, wires, ducting for air filtering, climate control, and various components necessary to sustain these indoor grows. These are photographs of the interior of the home in which they were building to dry the cannabis and other stages of manufacture. And again, here are just some more ongoing photographs identifying the illegal plumbing, wiring, and electrical work. Here you can see a photograph of a generator. This generator was installed inside of the shop. There are actually two of them. You can see them side by side here. These are rather large generators, approximately the height of a standing human. So you can garner the size of these generators. And then, of course, the large diesel holding tanks that were also installed inside of the structure to facilitate these generator operations. Illegal dumping, again, is identified as a violation of this parcel in Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 7.30.020, subsection A1. If someone fails to arrange for the lawful disposal of solid waste generated on the premise, which that person owns, occupies, or is there a person responsible for day-to-day operations thereof, they would be in violation, of course. Illegal dumping of solid waste, putrescible waste, and human biological waste and hazardous waste was identified on this site. And again, these photographs identify various stages of debris, waste, chemical containers, and so forth. Once again, the California Health and Safety Code, sections 17960 and 17970, deal with substandard conditions under state law, as well as section 1.8.2 of the California Residential Code relative to substandard conditions. This dwelling has significant amounts of unpermitted electrical, plumbing, and ventilation modifications, as well as significant amounts of mold, all of which constitute substandard living conditions. And again, more evidence supporting the substandard conditions relative to the illegal construction and work done without permits, as well as various stages of mold and unhealthy conditions, as you can see. You'll notice here that Tuolumne County Ordinance Code, section 1.10320, identifies that when a notice and order is issued for a violation of chapter 17.67, the time within which to correct a violation shall not exceed 5 days from the date of the notice and order having been served. For the purposes of calculating the accrual of fines pursuant to section 1.10.070C, if the violations are abated within the 5-day period, only the first day's fine shall be imposed. If the violations are not abated within the 5-day period, the fines accrued over 5 days shall be imposed. Excuse me. There were 1,167 cannabis plants identified on this, and the calculation for this fine at $100 per plant comes into $116,700 in administrative penalties. Some timeline relative to the case. On July 17th, 2023, an appeal request with a postmark date of July 13th was received from the property owner. The property owner, Irene Oyang, stated in her request that the property had been rented out since she obtained it in May of 2019. She was not involved nor aware of any cultivation inside the house. She had contacted a licensed contractor to help bring the property into compliance, and all future correspondence should be directed to her interpreter, Vivian Choi, with only Choi's contact information having been provided. On July 17th, 2023, the investigator requested, via Vivian Choi's personal email address that she and Mrs. Oyang had supplied, to provide a letter from the owner, Mrs. Oyang, with a notarized signature stating that Choi is legally authorized to act on Mrs. Oyang's behalf. On July 21st, 2023, the investigator requested via Irene Oyang's professional email that Mrs. Oyang supply the rental and lease agreement and a letter with her notarized signature stating that Mrs. Choi is legally authorized to act on her behalf. On 8/3/2023, the request for an appeal was processed and approved. No correspondence from Mrs. Oyang or Mrs. Choi has been received to date. Staff recommends at this time to your board that you find the following to be true: that the violations in the notice and order do exist or did exist, that the owner is responsible, that the penalty shall be imposed per the ordinance code, and we request that you issue a final abatement order. That is all we have at this time.
All right, questions. Let's see. Let me go back to my
So department made the presentation. Do we have the appellant here in the room? Ms. So Yang? Okay, we do not. We note that she is not in attendance. And how about her interpreter? Is she present? And that was, what was the name of the interpreter? Choi?
Vivian Choi.
Vivian Choi. Is Vivian Choi present? All right, just want to make sure there. So we'll go to board questions at this point. Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yeah, I had just one. Do we have any information, either factual or suggested, that shows how long this operation, this growth site has been operational?
No direct evidence to identify how long. I would say that the growth of the stage of growth of the cannabis inside of the building and outside suggested it had been some time. The infrastructure, the wiring, all the various components necessary specifically for the indoor grow suggest that they have been planning and preparing for that for, again, quite some time.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. Let me know if this is out of scope at all, but I wanted to ask with the changes that are presented here to the property, after the cannabis abatement happens, is the facility then red tagged until, or is that part of this process or the next process in making the building safe?
I can answer that, but I will caveat my answer, Supervisor Brandon, with that we have a secondary open case on this parcel from enforcement action that took place in the month of September of this year. And I can tell you at that time, the building was red tagged and we physically boarded it up to prevent access to the interior of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, that was just the dwelling, not the shop building itself, but the dwelling unit itself.
Supervisor Kirk, do you have any questions? I have a question that's a little bit tangential, and I know we can't really do anything about it today, but why is the fine based on only $100 a plant?
Well, that fine is set in ordinance, so that's something that we've been working on since I believe the cannabis ordinance came in, gosh, I want to say 2013, something like that. It's been some time. It's typically $100 per plant per day for a maximum of 5 days. So you can imagine the number of plants exponentially adds up quickly. There has to be a reasonable level of fines. Again, legally, we can't be over-fining individuals for these types of violations. So there is trying to find a sweet spot, I guess, to better explain that.
Okay, thank you. You do? Supervisor Kirk.
Just came to mind. If we move forward with this to recoup our costs, do we then put a lien after today's hearing, or at what?
Well, should your board find that these violations do exist, and a final abatement order is issued from the chair, that will be provided to the owner, and a demand for payment will be also issued. Should the owner not pay those fines, then we will undertake the lien and notice of pendency procedures, and then should they continually not adhere to those liens, we would go to the county tax collector to have those assessed.
Did you have
I did, and it was based on what you brought up. I did a little napkin math on here and just wanted to ask about, you mentioned the fair amount to not be excessive. As to basically 1,200 times 5 times 100 is about 600,000, which is 5 times greater than the fine that's listed in this. And if you can explain how that might, I know that's not perfectly accurate, but how that would be reduced and why.
Well, there's not an actual reduction in there. They were fined for the 1 day. Again, the enforcement action was undertaken with, in collaboration with our state partners, where we go out and we tag along with their warrants that they're serving, Department of Cannabis Control, Fish and Wildlife, and other various agencies that come along. So we find them for the 1 day that we've identified the cannabis to be there, and that's why you don't see that times 5.
Okay.
Because once we're there, we abate the problem. We abate the cannabis, or the cannabis is abated by the various agencies.
So there's
on
never
site.
really a circumstance where it would be discovered and then there would be 5 days to correct. It's pretty much always same day type thing.
No, it depends really. If we identify a grow and we can get an accurate plant count, one of the hardest things is the safety, of course, of the officers getting on site. But if we have an instance in which we can get an accurate plant count and we can identify that it has been there for 5 days or more, then that's when we would assess those fines, whether we can abate it or not.
I guess I'm confused because some of the plants there were well over 5 days old, right? I mean, that was a fairly.
Correct, yeah. Again, it's I guess not what we know, but what we can prove.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no other questions from the board, I'll go to the public for comment on this particular case. Seeing none. I'll see if the clerk has had any public communications on this matter. Nope. Okay. Otherwise, we would read them into the record. Okay, so we don't need to respond to anything because there's not been any public comment, so I will close the hearing. If there are no more questions for code compliance or the appellant who is not here, and no additional public comment, meeting is hereby closed. So now it's up to the board to deliberate. Can you put that slide up about the one where the findings, if we find them to be true? Good.
The slide here, ma'am?
Yeah. So this is what we are discussing. There's anything to be deliberated about or discussed? Does anybody have any comments on this? Supervisor Goldenberg.
Yeah, the only comment I have, and it was detailed out in the package, is that correspondence was sent to the appellant, and there was some discussion about being rented out, but a rental agreement was never provided to back up her claim. So I guess I'm looking at owner responsible as far as being able to determine whether she was aware or there was a circumstance that something happened behind her back because of a rental, and that doesn't appear to be the case. So, okay, thank you.
So if it really was rented out, it's still incumbent upon the landowner, property owner. It's their responsibility even so. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. We believe that them to be responsible for this case.
Thank you. Any other comments? Supervisor Campbell?
Not on this one.
Okay. Supervisor Kirk? Supervisor Brandon? Well, I'm moving towards that. I am very happy that this has come finally to code compliance to answer Supervisor Goldenberg's question. This has been on my radar since I took office. So that's at least 2021, how long this has been going on. And so I'm glad to see that we finally mustered the forces that we needed to come and scope this situation out. I will just say that I have found these violations to be true and accurate, that the owner is responsible, that penalties, I don't think they're enough, but there they are. I think they're just, and that we should, I find that all of the allegations are true, and actually, since it's in my district, I'll make a motion that we, how would I put this, that we approve
You can just restate the recommended elements there in a motion. That should be fine.
okay, that violations have taken place, and I would want to approve staff recommendations that have been made, that violations in the notice and order existed, the owner's responsible, penalties should be imposed per ordinance, and to issue a final abatement order. Does that suffice? Okay,
That
that's
should
the
be fine.
motion I made. Anybody want to second it?
I'll second.
Okay. So it was motioned by Supervisor Half and seconded by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have a third 1:30 appointment, and Heather, would you please read that particular agenda item?
1:30 p.m. Item 3, public hearing to consider Ernest Amarante Trust, Maria F. Rivas de Cajigas, and Juan Ramon Cajigas Villanueva. Consideration of determining that the county's summary abatement actions on no legal address, Twain Harte, California, 95383, APN 023-490-029, located in the Mount Knight area of Tuolumne County, satisfy the conditions listed in Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 1.10.230A.
Okay, I hereby open this hearing. Code compliance will present its case, and then the appellant will have an opportunity to respond, and then we'll take public comment, and then we'll deliberate and vote.
Okay, Christopher Schmidt, Deputy County Counsel. I'm just going to make another opening statement really quickly on procedure again, because we need a distinct record for each appeal or hearing. Some of this you'll recognize, but just bear with me. This hearing concerns the July 31st, 2023 actions of code compliance to summarily abate an illegal cannabis cultivation on a parcel located in Twain Harte. The conditions on this parcel were associated with the Mount Knight wildfire, which occurred at that time. Summary abatement is a procedure in our ordinance which permits the county to abate property without notice or a pre-abatement hearing, but only if the conditions on the property at that time were an imminent threat to public health and safety. In those cases, the threat is eliminated to take care of the safety issue, and the notice and hearing process occurs after the abatement. In these cases, the ordinance requires a hearing whether or not the owner asked for it, and the owner in this case has not requested this hearing. The primary finding for this hearing, whether threat to public health and safety was imminent, means if during the pendency of regular code compliance notice and hearing procedures, the public would be subjected to potential harm of a serious nature, the county may immediately abate the violations. Mr. Bell will provide your board with an overview of the investigation and case. The evidence presented by the county constitutes prima facie evidence, which means it is sufficient to establish a fact unless disproved or rebutted. The burden of proof, again, is preponderance of evidence standard. This means more than 50% of the evidence points to the existence of an imminent threat and the existence of the violations on the property. After Mr. Bell's presentation, the property owner or person responsible for the violations, if any are present, have an opportunity to present evidence in response. Your board can ask questions at any time, although this hearing before your board is not a public hearing in the traditional sense. The public may comment after the parties present. However, the department and parties present should be given an opportunity to respond to public comment. After the presentation, evidence, and any public comment, your board will determine whether the summary abatement met the standards I outlined. That is, the conditions on the parcel in questions were an imminent threat to the public, and if so, whether the violations as alleged existed on the property. If your board finds the county did not meet the imminent threat standard, then staff will close the matter and not recover abatement costs. If your board finds the standard was met and some or all the violations are true, then staff will present a final abatement order for your chair's signature, which includes the violations found to be true and corresponding abatement costs. Penalties are not sought in this hearing. Excuse me. Penalties are not sought in this hearing because penalties require prior notice, and the summary nature of this procedure is such that they won't be imposed. So if there's no other questions about hearing process, I'll turn this over to Mr. Bell.
Yeah, I'm sorry, if you could repeat that, I didn't quite understand the reasoning behind the prior notice. How would you describe what would have happened?
Just the difference between the two procedures, is that what you're
Well,
asking?
you're saying no penalty was,
No fines will be imposed.
no fines was
Correct.
put up, so.
Yeah, can you go over that again, why that is?
Before we impose a penalty, it's required by law that we give somebody an opportunity to have notice of it and an opportunity to avoid it. So in this case, because the abatement occurred immediately, there's no opportunity to give that owner or responsible person notice. And our ordinance requires a notice and order before imposing penalties. So that's just not present for a summary abatement. And so the department, when it uses this procedure, is really electing not to pursue those. So at stake here is just abatement costs.
Thank you.
I have a question along those lines, but are you done with your?
That's just the hearing procedure part.
Okay. I still have some questions along those lines, so if we want to just continue, and then we'll get to that.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you again. Brian Bell from the Community Development Department here with my colleague, lead investigator on this case, Michael Gillis. We are, again, prepared to provide you evidence relative to the fact that this summary abatement was necessary to protect the health and safety of the residents in the Mountain Night area relative to the night fire. Once again, the hearing review is, the questions are, did the violations exist? Who is responsible? Was the act of conducting a summary abatement justified per the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 1.10.230, subsection A? The standard, once again, is the preponderance of evidence. The burden is on the department. And our recommendations are that you find the violations existed, the summary abatement was justified, that the owner is liable, and the penalties are automatic. This is partial information relative to the site that had the summary abatement action taken on it. The county alleges that numerous zoning, building, and solid waste violations based on the site investigation that occurred on May 17th, 2023. The primary alleged violation is the illegal and unpermitted cultivation of 667 cannabis plants that were deemed to be an immediate health hazard to the public, requiring a summary abatement to be conducted. I would like to elaborate on this slide on 2 points. The first point is that this summary abatement hearing is specific to the abatement of the cannabis, not the building or the solid waste violations. Those are still ongoing cases that will be properly noticed, but the summary abatement was done specifically to the cannabis. And that was done and found to be in need of summary abatement due to the implications that the fire in the Mountain Night area originated on this parcel due to the illegal wiring and infrastructure that was supporting this cannabis grow. This case is limited to the administrative enforcement of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code and its adopted regulations. Any and all state regulations regarding cannabis cooperatives do not apply. Once again, we see these sections from the previous case, but here 17.67.050 subsection D3 prohibits the outdoor cultivation of cannabis within 1,000 feet of a sensitive use. And of course, that does include federal lands. And this cultivation is also limited to 6 outdoor cannabis plants based on the appropriate ordinance code of the RE5 zoning district. Once again, the plants count was 667. You can see in the photographs here the cultivation of cannabis evidence. In addition to the cannabis plants you see here, you also see various melted plastic due to its proximity to the fire, and various structures that were erected housing the cannabis. You can see the various fire, the cannabis inside of the structures themselves. Here, of course, we have that per Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 17.67.050 subsection B6, that all structures and equipment used for cultivation, processing, or storing of cannabis for personal use shall comply with all applicable building, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and fire code regulations as adopted by the county and/or the state. All 4 of the hoop structures were built without a permit. All plumbing and electrical for the cultivation of the cannabis was conducted without permits. Again, you'll see the various different structures that are identified here. Again, as a means of identifying the conditions on site. Once again, I want to elaborate this summary abatement is specific to the eradication of the cannabis and the items that were supporting that to the fire hazard. Once again, illegal dumping, when someone fails to arrange for the lawful disposal of the solid waste. They, of course, become in violation of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code. And this site had illegal dumping of solid waste, putrescible waste, human biological waste, and hazardous waste about the property. The cultivation, per 1767050 subsection B7, shall comply with all federal environmental and water regulations related to the water usage, stormwater management, fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide, and rodenticide storage and use. And it was found that the illegal dumping and improper storage of all of these items on the site. Here are photographs identifying the use of those said chemicals and their improper storage. Illegal dumping, as I mentioned before, supporting all of these photographs, supporting all of the various debris, human waste disposal, and other items. This slide here simply identifies the summary abatement process per the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code, which Mr. Schmidt has already clarified. Once again, I will read it for clarity of the record. Tuolumne County Ordinance Code Section 1.10.230 subsection A states the following. If the department head determines, with concurrence by the co-compliance officer, there exists a violation which is of such a nature as to be an imminent threat to the public health or safety, and if not abated, would, during the pendency of the proceedings, subject the public to potential harm of a serious nature, the same may be abated forthwith without compliance with the notice and pre-abatement hearing provisions of this chapter. When repair or removal of the condition is economically infeasible, abatement may include demolition of structures or destruction of real or personal property. On July 31st, 2023, the Tuolumne County Co-Compliance investigators contacted the Tuolumne County Co-Compliance officer to advise him of the violations that were identified in the parcel and asked if a summary abatement should be conducted for the illegal and unpermitted cannabis plants that were present on the parcel. The Co-Compliance officer directed the Tuolumne County Co-Compliance investigators to conduct the summary abatement of the 667 cannabis plants due to them posing a health hazard to the public. I might also indicate on this slide that I also had a conversation with Mrs. Carrillo, our county counsel, informed her of this decision before we moved forward. And again, evidence of the plants having been abated throughout all the structures themselves. Our staff recommends that your board find the following to be true. That the violations on the parcel existed, the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code, the Tuolumne County Co-Compliance was justified under the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code, Section 1.10.230 subsection A, to conduct the summary abatement, find that the owners are responsible, administrative penalties and summary abatement costs shall be imposed per ordinance, and to issue a final abatement order. That is the extent of our case. If you have any questions, we are available. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions?
Yeah. Yes, Chair, I have a couple of questions.
Is it okay, Christopher, to accept questions right now? Sure. From the board? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, so Ernest Amati Trust and Maria Rivas de Carjas and Juan Ramon Carjas, are any of those people here today? Okay. So those are the property owners. I'm just a little confused about this because, so the property was sold July 23rd, and then the fire was on the 29th. Is that correct?
I believe that timeline is accurate, yes, sir.
Okay. And so what this summary judgment is for is to find the current property owners.
The property owners that were legally owners of the property when the violations were identified and abated, yes, sir.
Okay. So with just kind of relating into the previous discussion, and we were kind of going, I think I'm going to take a wild guess where my colleagues were going. Why are we just looking at the cost for services related to abatement rather than the fines and the other elements that were present on the previous action, where we levied a fine of $116,000 based on $116,000 based on the number of plants? Why are we not looking at that with this action?
Our code compliance ordinance requires a notice and order before imposing penalties.
Okay.
That's rather clear. And just the nature of the summary abatement section, that bypasses the notice and order. It's an immediate abatement. And then the notice and hearing procedures follow that.
Okay, so that penalty could come later?
No. When the county chooses to summary abate a parcel, there's not going to be a notice and order at all. And that's required in our ordinance before you impose a penalty. So unfortunately, that's just an aspect of this ordinance and the election that we make to preserve the public health and safety immediately, to eliminate the threat, but that is a cost of it.
Okay. So was this property, I'm just trying to understand here, because obviously if the property was sold to someone new, that, I'm saying obviously, but I don't know this, who built the infrastructure that was inadequate for the purposes of cultivation? It was illegal in the first place. Why aren't we going after that person, and do we have any tools to do that? I'm just trying to understand, are we targeting the right thing? Because ultimately, we need to make sure that we're holding the right group or individuals accountable for this.
Okay, the point in time we're most concerned about is the point of when the county abated this property. And that was right at the time of the fire. This all occurred, unfortunately, very close to, but after the sale. So whoever owns the property at that time is liable for that. And it's a risk of owning property that violations may exist on it. They may purchase it with existing violations.
Okay.
But at least for the county code compliance's case, we're concerned about that date of abatement and who owned it at that time. So that's why we have that specific owner named.
So was there evidence at the time that the abatement occurred that it was an active cannabis cultivation operation when the fire occurred and when the investigation began?
That'd be a factual question.
So let me make sure I understand the question, sir. Your question is, was it a known cannabis grow at the time?
Well, I know it was prior to the 23rd, but at the time that the fire occurred and there was a subsequent abatement, was it an operational cannabis?
Yes, the plant was, the cannabis grow was active and ongoing.
Okay.
And once again, the need for the immediate summary abatement was due to the fact that it was, it's suspected and heavily supported that the fire originated on this parcel due to equipment that had malfunctioned, supporting the cannabis grow itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to halt all of the questions because I'd like to go back to our presentation process here. We've got the appellant's presentation, and they are present. So I'd like to give them a chance and hold all of the rest of our questions if we can, to give them an opportunity to come up and give their side of things. So this is the time for those of you who own the property, who want to come forward and come to the podium here and present your case. You have to come up here, please.
Does it have a time limit or?
I don't know.
When we got the keys for the place, and we open the door, the fire started. When we coming, the fire start right there. I don't understand why I'm involved in that kind of situation right now. So that's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Okay. Anybody else? I think there were 4 property owners. Are there any other property owners that are present that want to come up and give a statement?
No,
Property
property
owners.
owners of the.
Property owners.
Of the parcel.
That own this parcel in question. Sorry, I wasn't clear. We'll have time for public comment in a little bit. Any other owners of this property want to get up and give a statement? Okay.
I have more questions.
Yeah, so Supervisor Campbell, if you can continue with your questions.
Okay. And thank you, and I do appreciate it. It's just, this is a bit of a confusing situation, and it's an area that's well-known to the community up there, so I'm trying to make sure that we're clarifying what was the situation prior to the sale and prior to the fire and then after the fire. That's the reason why I'm asking these. So it's a 4.5 acre lot, roughly, correct? Or did it extend beyond just the lot?
Are you speaking to the fire or the parcel in question?
The parcel in question.
Yes, that sounds accurate.
Okay. So where was the cannabis grow in relation to that parcel? We don't really have a map to look at it. Was it in the middle? What I'm saying is it reasonable that someone could purchase that property and not know that there was a cannabis grow there?
I would say it was very unlikely, sir. On a parcel, again, 4 acres, as you know, is a larger parcel, but not so extensive that you couldn't walk the perimeter or go around it very well.
Okay. Okay.
Especially due to the size of the grow that was there.
And in relation to the house that someone would be purchasing, where was the cannabis grow? Was it within eyeshot of the main structure?
Michael, would you like to elaborate on that view of the cannabis grow from the main structure?
What was your question again?
Would somebody walking into the main structure or driving up the access road there not be able to observe the cannabis grow?
You would be able to observe the cannabis grow from the road looking down the hill. And these structures are the only structures that are on this parcel. There is no dwelling or anything other present on this parcel.
Okay. Well, there's like a cabin.
That's on a separate parcel.
Okay. So it's not this part. Okay. So, okay, those are the substantive questions I have. I have a lot of rhetorical questions, but I'll end it there. Thank you. And also thank you for the work that you've done on this. I know it's a complicated situation.
So Supervisor Kirk has to leave at 2:30, so I'm going to allow him to give his comments right now.
Well, question is real quick, but I think you guys clarified it. Because of the notice, there's no fines that might be assessed. But like the cause of the fire, that's still under investigation. If there's a cost secured to that, could that potentially be imposed on? It's kind of.
That investigation is being undertaken by the Forest Service.
Forest Service, okay.
Yeah, so we're not privy to that investigative report yet.
All right, so we have had public comment. We've had, the appellants have had a chance. Okay, so I'll make my comment. I'm sorry. I do have to leave. My wife's going to go into labor here in the next 24 hours. So my comments are such. Nobody purchases a piece of property without knowing what's on that property. So violation did exist. Code compliance is justified. Owners are responsible. Administrative summary abatement costs shall be imposed. Not might be, but shall be imposed. And issue final abatement. This is very clear to me, so thank you guys for bringing a very clear case forward. And I wish we could impose fines because that is disgusting. And that is why our fire insurance premiums are going up, because people neglect to take care of this environment. And shame on you guys and the people who built that.
No, it wasn't them. You need to have public here.
We did have public.
No, we need to allow members of the public
You
because
kidding me?
there's more to this.
Yeah. So you're making your comments because you have to go.
Well, I'm making my comments based on half information. And so I want to stop my comments. I want to hear from the public because I thought we were done with public comment.
No, we're not. Okay, but I stopped
would like to hear
because
public
you have
comment
to go. Okay, so now we'll allow public comment from the public that is not the property owner of this particular property. Please come forward. You've got, do they have a time limitation for their, no time, okay.
Good afternoon, Board President and County Board of Supervisors. My name is William Dunleavy Jr., third generation Tuolumne County. I live up in Mount Knight, and you've got the parties wrong, and you've got the parcel wrong. We reported the fire. It was, we have 20 acres, and the fire was actually on the 20 acres below us, right below us. The fire started on a water pump that malfunctioned at 3 o'clock and 2:45 in the morning, and it was growers there on parcel 023490007, not 29. And the new owners back here, they just bought the property. The firefighters made a line that day so that their new house that they just bought in July would not be burned down. The grow that was abated was on 007, not 029. And if they're not connected, they just bought the property. And the gentleman and his wife that we know have owned the property that the fire was on and the grows were on. And you guys, by the way, only got half the grow, 667 plants. On the other side of their property was another 700 plants. But there was also imminent harm to all of us. And, you know, the fire started, and lo and behold, you guys show up. I mean, we need help long before, like March, April, May, because when you guys abated this grow, was probably their third harvest of the season. So they'd already harvested twice, and they were in their third growth. But you have the wrong people. I can contest to that. I just met the new owners here today. They haven't even been on the property. I'm telling you that you've got the wrong party. It should be Jaime Hernandez's wife, Lorena Cruz, at 007 is the APN number, not 029. And appreciate all you're doing, but we really need help earlier in the season. We're all under imminent harm with all the things they're doing, the polluting, and you talk about all the garbage and all the different things that they're doing, and you abate it and you're fighting them for these different things, but it happens every year. So you can abate their plants, and then they turn around the next week and are growing again. The garbage is still there. They're still encroaching on the Forest Service property. They're still letting dogs, their guard dogs run loose. One got shot last year. There's a lot going on. We just need more help. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that the wrong parties were been implicated on the wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't, no time. No.
Hi, I'm Cheryl.
Hi there.
I'm Cheryl Dunleavy, his wife, so I live up in Mount Knight as well. And we met these people at a picnic, I think, at Mount Knight Picnic. We have one every year. And I'd like to disagree respectfully with knowing boundaries. You don't know your boundaries when you buy several acres in a mountain that goes like this. You can find where they are and walk them if you even have pins in the ground. And most of us up there do not know our exact corners. I believe that even if they had seen the grows from their cabin, they didn't know they were on their property. And I know that the person responsible, and I know it's in Lorena Cruz's name, but Juan Hernandez is the actual one who operates by, gets the workers that come up there. And I know he was encroaching. We were curious, he might have even been encroaching on our property, but I don't think he was. But apparently it was on theirs. If that is true, it was Juan Hernandez's crew that was doing it. And I have pictures on our game camera and another neighbor's game camera showing Juan Hernandez's employees, because we have them coming in and out, going to the grow a lot on the cameras, when the fire happened, we had them on camera leaving very excitedly and looking at the fire and frightenedly continuing on. And all of us up here from Mount Knight know that it was Juan Hernandez's crew that started the fire. Had nothing to do with them. And they did not know there was a grow on their property when they bought it. And, you know, and I'm really happy that you guys are doing all the work you're doing, but and I know sometimes you do buy property and it's as is, you're taking all of everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I really believe this was totally they're innocent. And I really hate to see Juan get away with it. Jaime, I'm sorry. Juan's the one that controls Jupiter's grows. Jaime Hernandez. Anyway, that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
So have you already heard that the properties are different? The property with the grove and the fire is on a slope. The property that this couple bought is downslope. So they're adjacent. You can see each other from the different parts of the property, but they're actually two different pieces there. I was going to address just some of the fire. As a county, we were fortunate. I have 43 years experience in wildland fire. I've been doing it my whole life. Because of the timing and the location, there was time to suppress it. But if that would have been just a little later in the morning, because once the sun came over the ridge, fire activity picked up quite a bit. And if that would have been a little later in the morning or even later in the day, then it would have been to the top of the mountain just because of fuel slope and, the terrain aspect, stuff like that. So a lot of factors. We're obviously very grateful that it didn't go big and that we got resources out there in time to help suppress the whole thing. Would have went through a number of properties, would have involved some structures. So there definitely was a threat there. And again, we were fortunate just where it sat at the time it sat. So other than that, though, just everything they showed, the slides, the plants, all that's accurate. It's just I think the property numbers are mixed up. So, who am I? I'm her husband. No. My name is Joe Reyes. I'm retired fire chief, U.S. Forest Service, and I teach wildland fire and I teach fire science. So I have a little bit of a background in what we saw out there that night.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello. I'm Gwen Reyes, and the fire impacted our community in many, many ways. One, I guess, complaint that I would have is that we put in a complaint last year about the grows that are going on in our mountain area. And this year, you guys got it together and finally, but it came and did the raids. You only got one property that was up there that we know of. I don't know if you ended up getting the one that was on the backside of Mount Knight, but the one that is right above us, you were a week late in getting them, and they have run it for 3 years now. And so we wake up every morning during growing season, and we smell pot. And it's not right. Their animals are running loose. They have sewage that they don't have a proper bathroom whatsoever. They leave their garbage all over everywhere. And then the bears come, and all the other animals come. It's just not a good situation. So I don't want to have, for us as a community, to have to bring a civil, suit for this, but it needs to be taken care of. And I'm so appreciative that you guys did come. At least you got one this year, that we know of. I don't know if the other ones on the other side were gotten or not, but thank you for doing that. And I hope that it gets taken care of. for the following years so that they can't continue. They've been doing it for at least 3 years now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, my name is Tony Morones, and I just want to clarify about these people here who just bought their property, that they don't have nothing to do with the grow. I know because I work with the survey guy who surveyed their property, and their property is not even close to the line where the plants were. So I just want to clarify that. You guys just have the wrong parcel, and that's not 4 acres, that's 20.
Excuse me, sir, do you remember the name of the surveyor?
No, but I have a business card that I can provide to you.
That would be great. Thank you.
I had a question of you also, sir.
Oh,
Do you know if the surveyor marked like the corners, or when they did the surveying work, was it marked?
They did.
Okay, thank you.
any other comments from the public? Okay, Heather, if you've already come up, that would be, but somebody else from your group can if they haven't spoken. Hi there.
My name is Mary Anderson. I live up on, I don't live in Mount Lion, but we go there a lot. It's our respite place. It's where we escape the world. Only the world has now shown up, okay? And there's just a bunch of stuff going on, and we appreciate that y'all are doing something about it, but the growers rotate. Yeah, there's different ones, and it's just, we can't fill our water tank as fast as we used to because they're depleting the water source. In addition to all of the stuff that they're doing to the land around there, in addition to the fact that there are some really interesting folks showing up. Those are folks that I sort of leave the city to avoid, but they're in our space now, you know, and stuff disappears from people's land now. And I so appreciate what you all are doing to try and make this a better place for us, because I love Mount Nye, and the people who live up there are amazing. And anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Clerk of the Board, Heather, did you receive any communication, emails from anybody that we need to read for the record? Okay, then I'll bring that back, and I will close the, no, not yet?
Sure that both sides are able to respond to the public comment if they want to.
Okay, so that would be the landowners and who else?
And the department.
And the department, okay. So I invite you to come back up and make any final comments, being the new owners of the property that we have in question. Are there any other comments you want to make?
I want to say thank you for your job, because you're doing a good job. And like I said, maybe you, I'm not Juan Hernandez, I'm Juan Cajigas, so I'm a different person. So don't get confused. I want to say thank you guys, because this is a good people, good neighbor. I'm buying that property because I can get out from the state, from the city. City's worse. This is the paradise for me and my wife. That's the reason we buy that. And this guy, he's a nice person. He's my best friend. He bring me up there, and that's the reason I buy that place. But I want you guys to take care of that deal with these people, because that's not good for the neighbor, for the forest. I like it, you guys put a lien in that property. Take it, you guys, that's property for the forest and let it, don't sell any, because they want to do the same thing and keep going and going and going. But this is business for these people. We don't need that. This is a good area, good people. I like that forest. I love it. I like that. I'm learning a lot. This Mr. Joe teach me a lot of stuff about cutting trees with a chainsaw. I never got a chainsaw. Right now I'm learning. Tony too. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Sheriff, good job. Take care of that business. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and then for a comment from you folks, from CDD and code compliance.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I would just offer a couple of items for consideration. Our case evidence does support the parcel that is identified in the board memo. I know there's some statements that have been made today that it may be incorrect. A confirmation of that parcel has been undertaken, and we still believe our facts to be accurate. I do understand, of course, that these parcel owners, I hear their statements relative to their lack of knowledge regarding the grow, but I would like the citizens that are here today from the Mountain area to know co-compliance operates in violations of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code. We have 3 investigators, myself, and 1 administrative technician. We are not sworn officers. We do not raid pot farms without the collaboration of other state agencies who are sworn officers. And we recognize that it is a challenge in our community that a lot of these grows go on without enforcement due to our, I won't say lack of resources, but the situation as it is a zoning violation. And those are the things that our co-compliance team is tasked with enforcing. So I just want to make sure that it is known that we recognize the problem. We will continue to do everything we can within our ability and our resources, but that is drastically challenged when you have some of these large grows continuing on and on year after year that require, again, a large law enforcement presence to address.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I can close the public hearing part and entertain.
You want to give the public another chance to comment?
Another rebuttal?
I would just say, Chair Half, if you open the public comment for one
I haven't
round,
closed it
you would
yet.
open- no,
I
open
haven't
for the
closed it,
rest.
so I can open up for another round of public comment?
You can if you'd like.
Okay, I think I want to make sure everybody feels heard, so. You have to come up to the podium and you speak to the board and then we direct staff to comment. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Kurt Wagoner. I live in Mount Knight. You're wrong. That is on parcel 7. It's not parcel 39. We've been complaining about it for 3 or 4 years. I know almost every parcel and almost every number in that subdivision. I'm sorry, sir. I appreciate what you're doing. It is not parcel 39. It is 29. It's parcel 7. It's a 20-acre piece. It's zoned agriculture. It also has a dwelling on it, or not a dwelling, but an agricultural building. I can tell you much about Mount Knight, and I can tell you that it is not the property that you guys are saying it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Real quick, I have a map, parcel map, and I think the overlay that I looked at back there with Quincy is maybe just a little off. The grow was on parcel 007, not 29, that the new owners back here just bought. Like I said, we fought the fire before the fire department got there. It was 2 hours before they arrived. We know what property we were on. We went amongst the grow. You guys got video of that. You should have video of that. He's saying we're not knowing where the grows were. We've been on the properties. And like I said, you only got half of the grow because on the other side of their property was another 700 plants that you didn't touch. Because the very next week, the growers went back in dug those plants up and took them down to Jupiter to continue their growth. 029 is right on the border of 007. We went to the grows on 007 that were abated. We almost abated those plants ourselves that very morning when the fire was all around it. It didn't burn the plants, but it burned around it, and it burned almost down to 29. The firefighters were there, and they've set up a fire line to make sure that their new home was not touched. On 007, there was no home. It's just a kind of a Quonset hut, square building just for the summer use, and garbage all over the place. They left their dogs. We fed them and gave them water. We didn't know what was going to happen with the dogs because they just took off like scattering ants after the fire started. We know who started it. We know where it was started, and we know where the grows were. So I think you should put this to rest for now, and we can help. Code compliance with the maps. And like Tony said, he knows where the markers are. We were there. They came in afterwards and they decided which plot it was, but something's wrong. So I think because we've lived there so long and we know the areas and we know where the grows were and whose property they were on, I think we need to look at this again and maybe come back with the right owners as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Like I say before, I work with the survey personnel to survey the property, and this is the business card. You can even call them and talk to them about, because they saw the greenhouses that were on the other side of their property. So this is totally a mistake.
So you have the name of the surveyor right there?
Yes, I got the card.
Can you give that to the clerk of the board, please? She can give it back to you after she records the information off of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I can,
So any other public comment? Going once, twice? Okay, I'm going to close public. Not yet.
All right. I just want to know, do you
Pull
want...
that down. Pull that mic down so we hear you.
Do you want our map? I'm Gwen Reyes again. So do you want the map that we have, that the real estate agent uses, and that has been the map? Would you like that?
I'll direct your question to staff. Do you feel like you need that map?
We would entertain any information that you have to supplement ours.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Nesper, do you have any comments for us before I close public hearing?
Well, I just want to remind your board what you're here to do today, and the burden of proof is on code compliance to prove what's being recommended here, and that the conditions justifying summary abatement are warranted. Obviously, questions have been raised regarding owner responsibility. It's up to your board to determine whether that's been proven by a preponderance of the evidence. Here, if there is a need for additional information, you do have the option to continue this public hearing and to request additional information. But if you feel the burden has been met, you can also make the recommended findings.
Thank you. That's helpful. All right, I'm going to close public hearing. Going once, twice. All right.
Chair, if I could jump in.
Yes, go ahead.
I've been communicating with just about everybody in this room for the past year and a half, and I would say the situation as it was described here is very accurate to what's going on. It's really unfortunate that we have some confusion here, and I really want to get to the bottom of this. I'm staring at a picture of a house it's a cabin that's associated with that assessor's parcel number. Is the property that you looked at, did it have a house on it? Or was it just the grow and the accompanying unpermitted structures related to that grow?
The parcel that we were on, there was no form of a dwelling on it. There was
Okay.
only the hoop structures.
So I'm going to say we need more time to look into this, and that's not an indictment of any of the work that our staff have done. They work very hard on this. And I think what we've heard today is, we've kind of been living, and I just want to let this board know that the folks that have come here today to describe this, they came down from Mount Knight. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know how fast maybe I drive slower than you guys do. I do drive fast. About an hour and 20-minute drive to get up there. And I'm certainly not as familiar with the area as the folks here, but I'm somewhat familiar with it as I've been staring at maps of it for the past year and a half and getting to know where the different grows are. So I think we probably need to get out there and look at where the actual property markers are. I don't know, has that been done?
Just one point. I'll defer to Mr. Nesper because he's representing your board, but if your board wants more evidence and you want to continue it, I would suggest that you move to reopen the hearing and continue that to a date and time certain in the future.
Okay. All right. I would like to do that. Before I do, I just want to kind of describe what we're seeing is that this has been a problem for this community for a long time. And the only tools that we viably have to address it are through Community Development Department, which is a shame. That's why we're here talking about, bad electrical, outdoor generators, and no permitting and mold and that type of thing, rather than talking about that these are criminal operations. That's the reason why we're using this tool, and it's a very cumbersome tool. So I apologize for the frustration that this has incurred. I can tell you that people within the county are working very hard to address this, and the fire that took place, it was a wake-up call, I think. The very next, I think we had a board meeting shortly after the fire took place, and what I told my colleagues is that if it were not for the work of the people living on Mount Knight in that community to put that fire out, it would have been a severe fire that would have made national news. I mean, it could have threatened everything from Long Barn up to Arnold and Calaveras County, if you know anything about that area and where the fire took place. So we're kind of teetering on the edge with some of these parcels where these illegal cannabis grows are going on and that we know about, and we need to find ways to do something about them. But all of that being said, we need to make sure that we are going after the correct people that are responsible for this. And that's my big concern here, is that if we're hurting somebody that's not the perpetrator, then it doesn't do anything to solve the problem. So if we can take some more time, narrow that down, and make sure that we are not just following the very point of the law, but the spirit of the law that we're trying to enforce, I think it's time well spent.
Thank you. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. I was going to say I'm not as familiar with the area, obviously, but I want to agree with the comments that what's laid before us for the preponderance of evidence, I don't see that right now. I would recommend we table it indefinitely so it can come back as something maybe found out and clarified, or if it is clarified the other way, it would be dropped. I would be happy to see a motion and move forward with that, because I think at least two of us, it sounds like, are not ready to make a decision on this right now.
Supervisor, thank you. Supervisor Goldenberg.
So I have both questions and comments, and I'm not sure to do it with the hearing closed or if we're going to reopen. I'm not sure what's appropriate.
Ask your questions first and then make your comments, and we're coming to a close here at some point.
So for staff, it's kind of a combined question and comment, but having been in the business, with CAL FIRE, right, an investigation will be conducted and a report will be created. Do you know if an investigation report was completed, and if so, did you get a copy?
For the fire? For
the fire, correct.
It's my understanding the cause of the fire per the Forest Service report was undeterminable. So that was the determination that we received.
Okay, so is that, it it does make a difference if it was in an official document or is this a verbal that you got?
It's my understanding that was done in a filed report.
Okay, so without showing a determined cause, in my mind, it's be difficult to determine imminent threat that another fire is going to be caused by the same situation, right?
We would argue that this property doesn't necessarily have to be found to be the cause of the Mount Knight fire. It's that the conditions were present, that it was an imminent threat to public health and safety. So if it could cause a fire, if there's a serious threat of that in the time frame of the notice procedures for a regular case, then we would meet that standard.
Okay. And I'm of mind, too, to continue this, to get additional fast contact this surveyor, go out on site, look at it and definitively mark this property. For the members of the public here that live in the area, totally understand what you're saying. Our staff work may be correct, may not be. That's to be possibly determined. But right now, they've done a lot of work, and we've heard your verbal, right? We don't have anything that concrete that we can sink our teeth into. So I'm hearing what you're saying and concur that this needs a better look.
Okay, and my comments are, from what I've heard from the public who seem to know the area, I think we need to continue this investigation. I don't think we're ready to make a determination at this point. We need additional information, and that's kind of what I'm hearing from the board as well. So I'm wondering if anybody is willing to make a motion.
I don't think we'd be making a motion, we'd be tabling it, or is that?
To continue the hearing, there would need to be a motion to reopen the hearing and continue the hearing. That would need to pass by a majority of your board.
To continue the hearing at another time, right?
Correct. If you continue it to a date certain, that helps with some noticing requirements. If you continued it to an indefinite date, code compliance would have to redo all of the noticing.
We don't want to redo everything. So I need to open up the public hearing in order to do this. That's what I'm hearing. Is that right?
You need to move to reopen the public hearing. That would need to be approved by a majority vote.
Okay, I would like to move to reopen the public hearing with the board's consent.
And I'll second. Does that, or does she just need to consent?
I think she can just reopen.
We're being overly efficient.
Okay, so we'll take a vote. It was motion by Supervisor Half, seconded by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposing? Any abstentions? Supervisor Kirk is absent, so that's a 4-0 motion. So I hereby open public comment. And now can you please guide me through the next step?
Now, if your board wishes to continue this hearing to a date certain, you might want to seek some input from staff to see how much time they think they might need. And I'm not sure if the board clerk has any information about dates.
So what I would do is ask staff when would be an appropriate time to return with more information on this.
I would say the month of December would be the soonest that we could return.
Okay.
With another hearing.
All right, clerk, what would be an appropriate meeting in December?
How much notice? Before you answer that, how much notice do we need to give? A 30-day notice, 60-day notice? What's a notice?
We notice the property owners and responsible persons at 10 days.
For a period of how many days?
We notice them of the hearing date.
And,
of the hearing date. So we don't have to publish in the newspaper a notice?
The notice of the hearing would have to be republished, yes.
With the continuing it to a date certain, none of that would be required.
With the date certain? Okay, we just mentioned the date?
We would set the date at today's public open hearing, and that would be sufficient notice.
Okay. As the public can probably understand, we don't do this all the time. This is new to us, so.
Yeah. So
we're going to defer now to
December and then.
And defer to our clerk to give us a possibility of a date.
Yes, your board has two regular board meetings in the month of December, December 5th and December 19th. It is up to your board which date you would like staff to bring that back.
Would December 19th give you the most time to do your work?
Yes, Madam Chair, we can make that work.
All right, so I'll make the motion to continue this item until December 19th.
And will that be an appointment, a time?
How about 1:30?
I will make the motion to continue this until December 19th at 1:30 PM.
I'll
Pacific
second.
Standard Time.
Okay, it was moved by Supervisor Campbell and seconded by Supervisor Goldenberg to move the date to the 19th at 1:30, 19th of December. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That carries 4-0 with Supervisor Kirk absent. Does that conclude what we're doing here, Mr. Nestor?
That concludes this item.